program to help address some of the blights that we've been seeing regarding scaffolding, construction fencing in the district, in our the district. So I'm here with my colleague, Victoria Panaccio. She runs our streetscape and placemaking efforts in the neighborhood, and she's going to talk a little bit about the program. We also brought some one-pagers about the program and a full deck, and we'd be happy to share it with whoever's interested, whoever wants a copy, or for them to review, please let us know. Victoria.
Great, thank you, Taina. So as you might know, back in 2023, the city implemented a law automatically enrolling properties who apply for temporary protective structures in their program that compels them to add art onto their temporary protective structures. That includes construction fences, sidewalk sheds, unless they proactively opt out. And so these temporary protected structures are such an eyesore. And so we wanted to do our part in helping encourage owners to participate. So we partnered with local arts organization ArtBridge to develop a portfolio of 6 Lower Manhattan themed artwork designed by New York City-based artists. We really wanted to make this an easy process for property owners, providing them choices, as well as outline them with the estimated cost. We have 3 of the portfolios going around, so you can take a look there. We would love for the board to encourage properties that come forward to add art onto, to encourage properties that come forward to add art onto their temporary protected structures. If not one of the artworks from the portfolio, but one that they customize on their own, really it would significantly improve the streetscape and transform our neighborhood. And I'd be happy to share a link of the portfolio and answer any questions you might have.
Okay, because she's under the time that we've given, does anybody have any questions? Alice?
Yeah, it's not a question on this program, but I do want to bring it to the attention of this board and to the Downtown Alliance. I did speak with your colleague, Josh. Water Street is a problem. The public spaces along Water Street are a real problem. They're not being reviewed, they're not being looked at, and they're actually being destroyed. And then specifically, I want to mention 77 Water Street, our biggest privately owned buffered space downtown, and the plaza, which is something that this community board gets to review, not an arcade, is completely destroyed. 6 trees were removed. It was an award-winning landscape by AEBI, and it's gone. I was told about this last week. I immediately brought it to the board's attention and Department of City Planning, and somehow said nothing about it. I think it's important that where possible, the Alliance takes walks and starts to really follow through as to what developers are and aren't doing with the transition to residential, almost an entirely residential community. And the other space I want to mention is 175 Water. We've asked about it. It's been completely closed down. These are very big alleged public spaces that are no longer public. And in the case of 77 Water, it's a really egregious loss. So I bring it to your attention. I bring it to the board's attention. Hopefully we follow up. So thank you.
Thank you for bringing.
I appreciate everyone's brevity and speed at speaking, but I'm just going to call out I'm typing, so feel free to slow down slightly.
Does anybody online have any questions or feedback? Hearing and seeing none, I want to thank you so much. If you send us the presentation, we will be happy to email and distribute it as well, and save Lucy the horror of having to scan this.
Yes, we'll put it in line.
All righty, awesome. Thank you very, very much. And for those who missed it, who watch this recording later, this is Manhattan Community Board 1 full board meeting, and you did not miss anything. That was our first presentation. Okay, so moving on to our next member of the public for speaking. Anthony?
Hi, my name is Anthony Hannigan. This is the now 4th month that I'm coming to ask for an update on the 320 Pearl Street shelter. I don't know if Robin is on from the mayor's office.
And in fact, Robin is, but before we unmute Robin, I will tell you that Community Board 1 sent a letter welcoming the brand new deputy mayor in charge and asked for a meeting and welcomed her to come to a new community board meeting, and we'll send you that letter. Robin?
Everyone, I am aware that this is an important issue, and it's been on the table since the shelter was announced publicly in June. Aware of the community board's efforts to try to get attention drawn to the situation. And as Tammy just said, there was another letter sent as recently today to the new deputy mayor who oversees the shelter program, among other things. So stay tuned is all I can say. I will carry the message back as I've done in the past, and we'll keep you posted if and when I learn of anything.
But that doesn't really help because this is the fourth month in a row that I'm getting the same answer, stay tuned. While you say it's been, on the table, it's not on the table, it's been approved. The controller's office has approved it. DHS has announced that they're opening the shelter in July. So, time's running out to do anything, and it seems like the mayor's office is not they're ignoring the issue. They're not doing anything.
Well, I don't know that you can actually say that. They're not doing anything that you can see, and you haven't heard back anything that, you would necessarily like to hear. So there is work going on, and I am hopeful
then-
that I'm sorry, let me finish. I am hopeful that the latest communication may lead to some more information. And more than that, I can't say. I don't have more information.
Okay, well, Robin, we did hear, just so we're all transparent here in the room, we did hear from the controller's office that the contract was with
It's
them.
registered. Was registered. Is that correct? Yeah.
And it was registered because they found no sense of malfeasance, which is the only thing that they can look for. So regardless of the fact that the front door is 5 feet from the entrance to the school, they had nothing more to add. So this really does sit at the feet of City Hall. I appreciate you being in touch with me, even if it's to tell me that you don't have any updates, and I appreciate that, but anything you can do to help push the deputy mayor to talk to the constituents of this city would be fantastic.
I will endeavor to do my best, Tammy, and it's disappointing that this has gone so long, but I like to be optimistic. So let's see. And I appreciate the frustration. I don't know the name of the person who is speaking, but I appreciate the frustration. I sat on this board myself for a long time, and I do understand. So
Okay, fantastic.
thank you, Tammy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I just need to remind everybody, if you would like to speak, you needed to sign up online. Updating the spreadsheet, and I don't see anybody else who has signed up to speak for the public session. If you are an attendee and you think you signed up to speak, please raise your hand for me. And I see nobody else in the room. Okay, so that works really well. Hearing no one else, seeing no other hands, we're going to close the public session and start the public hearing on the topic of preliminary budget sanitation. Okay, this is the last commentary that we have, and again, it's from budgetary feedback. I have no signups online. Do I have any comments in the room? Hearing none, seeing no hands raised online, we will close said public session at 6:29 and start our business session. I like it when it rolls, man. All right, let's move along to the adoption of the February 2025 minutes. Do I? Second. Okay, I hear a motion. I hear a second. This will be roll call. And again, since Brenda doesn't do roll call often, be gentle, be kind, be clear. Take it away.
Ready?
Yeah.
And Marisa? Blank?
Like, yes.
Brown Kennedy? Cameron?
Cameron, yes.
Cassell?
Cassell, yes.
Chang?
Okay, yes.
Chapman?
Chapman, yes.
Charkoudian?
Yes.
Cole?
Cole, yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Corman?
Yes.
Kuchia?
Absent.
Curtis?
Curtis, yes.
Flores?
Flores, yes.
Flynn? Friedman. Froman,
Roman, yes.
Galloway,
Galloway, yes.
Goldstein,
Goldstein, yes.
Hernandez. Ershad,
Ershad, yes.
James. Joyce. Kay,
Okay, yes.
Cannell,
Canal, yes.
Capel. Lerner,
Lerner, yes.
Lewinson, Lynn. Lyon,
Lyon, yes.
Meltzer,
Meltzer, yes?
Mensley,
Mensley, yes.
Moore,
Moore, yes.
Tanya. Pushikori,
Sikori, yes.
Robinson,
Robinson, yes.
Scott,
Thank
Shear. Star,
Star, yes.
Jimmy Song. Vera Song,
Absent.
Terry. Thompson, yes. Townley,
Before I vote, I'm just having trouble signing in. If someone could put the link in the chat. And Townley votes yes.
you,
Yes.
Zelter.
Zelter, yes.
Great.
All in favor?
Okay, move along to updates from our elected officials. I think, I don't see anybody here from Goldman's office. So, I know Carlos is on vacation, so we're gonna go straight to Dan from Senator Kavanaugh's. You're first.
Hi, everybody. Dan from Senator Kavanaugh's office. I'll keep it brief. Before session, I had mentioned a couple of priorities that we had going into session, one of them being the housing access voucher program, and I'm happy to say that it got into our Senate majority budget resolution. So it is going to get in that resolution, $2.2 billion in capital funding for housing development preservation, including 606 million for public housing across the state and 150 million for rental housing. And then the actual voucher program is going to get $250 million to provide rental assistance vouchers to those who are homeless or facing imminent risk of homelessness.
What was the last number, sorry?
$250 million for HAPD. And then the other one that I had mentioned, and sorry, I'm talking really fast, Brendan. The other one that I had mentioned was the shelter arrears eviction forestallment program, or SAFE, spelled a strange way. And that is going to be getting $50 million, and there will be an additional $55 million for eviction legal services. And then there are a couple of more that I'm excited about, but the last one that I'll mention is the homeowner support, or HOP, the homeowner protection program, which got $40 million and $50 million to help first-time buyers with down payment, and closing costs. And I'll leave it there for now.
Fantastic. Hands up if you have questions for Dan. Hearing, seeing none in the room, hearing, seeing none online. Thank you, Dan, very, very much. Oh, never mind,
Yeah,
Alex.
sorry. I just wonder, when is the next, jail meeting, PBJ?
I'll have to check in with the DDC and then get back to you.
Thanks.
Yes. But in the meantime, if there are outstanding concerns, you should reach out to me and I can get in touch with them immediately.
Yeah.
Susan Cole?
What is the state going to do with the voucher program, the federal?
Susan, your audio is kind of messy.
Or tenants that they're, or they've, do you have?
Hey, Susan, your audio is going in and out. The only thing I could catch was that you were asking about existing voucher programs.
I understand. Can you put it in the chat?
Yeah, type it up in the chat and we'll ask Dan. We'll let,
Okay.
while
Fine.
you're typing, we'll let Tracy at Assemblymember Glick's office go, and then we'll ask Dan again.
Hi, I'm Tracy Jackson from Assemblymember Deborah Glick's office. The Assemblymember is in Albany working on the state budget. Last Thursday, when she left Albany, the speaker told everyone to pack for 2 weeks. So that we think that they may be there through all of next week as well. But of course, we're aiming for the April 1st deadline, so that's what we're hoping for. So we'll have more information next month about what actually makes it into the final budget. On the legislative front, earlier this month, there's one bill that we've talked about here before that has said was one of her priorities is to reduce packaging. It's the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act. And we're pleased that it moved out of committee earlier this month, so that's looking promising. We got really far with it last session and then ran out of time thanks to the congestion pricing curveball that some of you might remember last year. Another bill that is a priority that moved out of the Environmental Conservation Committee is one that we co-sponsored with Senator Kavanaugh, and it actually passed the Senate, but this would create a plan for lithium battery disposal. Right now, they just go into landfills and create fires and other hazards. We're having a little bit of a challenge with the firefighters union is actually raising some concerns. So right now our team, I know Dan just looked at me funny. It got through the Senate, but somehow we need to do some negotiating to figure out how to keep it moving through the assembly. And then I'll say just 2 more local things that I want to flag for you, and they're in our board report as well. It's just a reminder that the mayor has appointed a New York City Charter Revision Commission to do public input sessions on housing and land use issues. It hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but they are having a public hearing on April 23rd at New York Law School, and there are opportunities to comment in person or online if you want to weigh in on. There aren't any specific proposals being put forward. It's just kind of an attempt to change the commission, the city charter without actually specifying what changes they would like to make. So if you have thoughts on that, you might want to testify. There's April 23rd. And then finally, we've been trying to get answers. This is another city issue, but we've been trying to get answers from the FDNY and DOT about open dining structures that businesses that have applied for a waiver from the FDNY to allow their dining platforms to create a little bit of an obstacle to emergency vehicles.
No.
So we have not gotten any answers from them, but we've been pestering both agencies to at least get some clarity on how many waivers have been granted already and what the decision-making is like in FDNY. And so far, we haven't gotten any answers, but we'll keep working on that since April 1st is when the open dining program begins again. So any questions?
What was the commission that the mayor chartered?
Sure, it's the New York City Charter Commission. Sorry, New York City Charter Revision Commission.
Would you mind helping us get some kind of flyers or something? Because it's, I mean, I'm sure the council member might, but I understand this is distinctly different from what city council is doing. So I kind of feel as a community board chair, we're sort of in the dark because it's, hey, look over there, we're gonna change what's over there and nobody having any information.
That may be it. I hate to pass the buck, and I certainly would try, but I don't know if Robin has any lead on that.
I will send you some information tomorrow. I'll send you links to the Charter Revision Commission site, and the hearings are listed, locations. I think they're all available online, and people are free to come and testify in person or on Zoom.
Yeah.
The challenge is we aren't given specifics about what to testify about. It's just kind of a general come and tell us what you think, how the city's, essentially the city's constitution should be changed. It's,
I'm sorry, who's speaking now?
This is Tracy from Assemblymember.
Oh, Glick's office. Okay, thank you, sorry.
Okay, thanks, Robin.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to me also, but I will get that to the board tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
No
That'd be
problem.
great. Thank you very, very much.
Anything
Did
else?
Susan send her note in, okay, so, sorry, Dan, you gotta hang with us.
If you can hear me, you could send it to me via email or.
Susan, do you have your audio fixed yet?
I think so.
Awesome. Awesome. Ask your question for Dan on the vouchers, please.
I want to know, has the state any plan for when the federal government is going to stop the Section 8 vouchers within the city for current holders in housing?
That's what I thought that you asked, kind of the bits and pieces of it that I heard, and I reached out while I was waiting to our housing director, and she'll probably message me back sometime during this meeting, but I really don't want to guess. So I'm sorry, I'll have to get back to you, Susan.
Thank you.
It would be awesome if you can let us.
Yeah, and I think our colleagues at the federal level, I mean, I've reached out to them recently about this and to HPD about this. It's just kind of an involved answer that I'm not ready to talk about right now. So, but I will follow up with you and Tammy.
Okay, great. Awesome. Go ahead, Rosa.
I have a quick question since our state representatives are here.
Who is
So
this directed at?
this is directed at both of our state representatives.
We have a third. So,
Hi. All three state representatives, related to, an interesting proposal by Mark Levine, that he mentioned at his State of the Borough, which is the mental health, facility at Randall's Island that is only, I believe, 1/10 occupied. And we obviously are having a mental health, crisis on our hands in the city. And we not only need the actual physical beds, which would be awesome, but we also need the laws that allow us to be able to actually help people. As well as the funding, frankly, for the staff so that we can actually provide wraparound support services. And so my question to all three state representatives is, how do we get from where we are today to there? I think we all recognize we have a problem here. How do we actually address it, fund it, make sure that it is up and running successfully? Because it's pretty crucial on our streets that we walk on every single day.
I think he's only 400 beds, right?
That's right.
Out of like
400 out of the
4,000.
Yeah.
yeah, we learned that at one of the quality of life meetings.
Yes.
No, Mark, told us.
Mark told us.
So would love to know how you can help us get from where we are today to where we need to be.
Yeah, I mean, if I recall, Mark mentioned a way for us to help, and that never occurred to me at that time. And then I remember looking, I reached out to his chief of staff to learn a little bit more, and we're still in process of talking to them to answer that question. Because I think that they had an idea, correct, that they needed the state legislature for some reason, but I wasn't totally clear.
State facility.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
I don't have an answer because the Randall's Island piece of news to me, but I need to know to follow up with Dan and I'll get on this email. An email together. I'm waving at.
Yes, just back here for the charger.
Well, you know what?
We can try to, and I do know, I know that there's discussion right now during the budget negotiations about how much funding to put into additional supports for mental health services and things like that. We'll probably have more specifics next month. We better have more specifics next month because we've got to finalize the budget. So we can all knock heads and come up with an answer.
yeah, but thanks for following up, Rosa. That was on my to-do list to talk to my boss about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Tracy or Dan, either in the room or online? And I think that leads perfectly to our third state elected rep, so come on up, introduce yourself, and you can tag in for the dialogue.
Right. Well, thank you, everyone. So my name is Hayden Ryan. I'm Director of Special Projects for Assemblymember Lee. We have a few updates. I'll breeze through the first one. Don't want to say. Yes, Hayden Ryan. HAYDNRYA.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just quickly paraphrase our first thing because at the risk of being like a broken record, AM Lee is up in Albany 4 days a week, and then for the next week or so, it might look like that'll be pushed to more than 4. Budget being due April 1st and might be taking a few more days. A quick legislative update is that, as you might know, Trump's border star Tom Homan visited Albany recently. So Assemblyman Lee and a coalition of her colleagues held a press conference to rally and publicly speak out against that. I encourage you to look towards our Instagram if you're curious for the details of what that looks like. And then regarding the budget, she's continuing to prioritize our communities and get the funding needed for items most important to our district, primarily reimbursements of stolen SNAP benefits. And she recently spoke on behalf of the settlement houses to get that increased funding for workers and the after-school programs. Number 2, she testified at the joint budget hearing for the Environmental Committee, where she questioned the DEC, being Environmental Conservation Department, about the veto of her Brownfield Remediation Act that she was so proud to have gotten passed in the Assembly and Senate. That bill would have provided technical assistance grants to communities near schools near brownfield sites. And she remains committed to fighting for this bill's passage and eventual enactment in this term. Okay, so regarding bills that we are introducing, we have introduced our bill aiming to implement API history into our schools' curriculums. And she also introduced a bill with Senator Brad Hoyland Siegel to reduce sidewalk sheds and scaffolding. This bill will allow residents to take legal action against their landlords if the scaffolding is on the building for extended periods of time without that proof of work being done on the building. Maybe some of you can relate.
Yes.
And then finally, she introduced a Junk Fees Act requiring sellers such as internet companies, banks. The Junk Fees Act. It requires sellers such as internet companies, banks, restaurants to clearly provide their full prices and any other fees to customers. I know that's also been an issue for a lot of the community, and a little bit for myself, if I may. Regarding some events we have coming up, we supported Senator Kavanaugh's Senator Kavanaugh, the mayor's public engagement unit, and NYC Aging at the recent Scree info session. We joined Assemblymember Epstein, Senator Kavanaugh, and the LES Community Care Coalition to discuss ways that we can help protect immigrant New Yorkers. And then finally, at the risk of being long-winded, as part of the Women's Legislative Caucus History Month celebration, she welcomed a resident of Smith Houses, Aisa Torres, to Albany, and we honored her as a woman of distinction for her decades of advocacy work in Lower Manhattan.
Who was that?
Sorry,
Who did you honor?
Aisa Torres.
Can you spell it?
Yes. AIXATORRES.
Thank you.
Yep, no, that's all my updates. I welcome any questions and I'll get them all forwarded along to our ledge director.
Any questions for Assemblymember Lee's office?
Okay, please reach out online or give us a call.
Okay. Alrighty, fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm gonna ask the two of you at the far end, can you open a window? Yeah. I'm the one who's always cold and I'm roasting over here. It's dying.
It is hot, yeah.
Okay.
And fast.
Alrighty, more dates, let's go to Robin Force from City Hall. In the mayor's office. Robin, do you have anything you'd like to report? You're muted, Robin.
Hey, I have 2 quick updates. One, last week was Mental Health Week in New York City, and it marked the first the completion of the first year of a 3-year behavioral health blueprint that the mayor developed and implemented last year. The idea or the highlight of it is really trying to restore and maximize outpatient services. There was a grant from the state of $33 million, and 3 of the benefits that we have been able to derive from that is that there's been a restoration of 225 psychiatric beds that were closed since the pandemic, the COVID pandemic. There's also been a renovation of 7 inpatient behavioral health units, which will mark an increase of another 163 psych beds. And in addition, there's been expansion of inpatient psych staff to work with these patients. So a step in the right direction. The other thing I wanted to mention is most of you know that the mayor has really made a huge effort in removing guns from New York City streets. And since the beginning of this year, there was an additional 1,000 firearms removed from New York City streets, bringing the total in the 3+ years of the mayor's administration to nearly 21,000 guns. So a good number, and definitely a step in the right direction. And I'm happy to take any other questions. I will get back to you about the Charter Revision Commission. And Tammy, you and I have been talking about the shelter, and we'll continue to dialogue as much as we can.
And I'll say it again, I appreciate you being willing to call me and tell me I have nothing, even though I'm calling for something. And I appreciate the efforts of your responsiveness, and I understand that you can only share what you can share. But as you can tell from the people who come here month after month, and the letter that we sent to the deputy mayor.
I do understand, Tammy. I do understand.
Okay.
And I will work on my end to do anything that I'm able to do.
Perfect. Because I know that I would be happy to talk about charter reform, about citing shelters next to schools. But I don't think that's what they're looking for April 23rd, but I'm willing and
I do think that at the Charter Revision Commission, there's pretty much of a wide allowance for topics that are important to the people who choose to testify on city issues. So we can talk about that offline, but if that's something you would like to speak about, you would be allowed to do so.
Yeah, let's see if we can get like half the board to testify about different
There we
things.
go.
It'd be
Okay.
awesome.
Excellent.
Anybody else have anything for Brendan?
Hi, Robin, this is Brendan. What I heard or learned recently that there is not funding for open streets. Are y'all looking into that? Are we extending that program?
I have no idea what the status of the funding is for the upcoming fiscal year. And as you probably know, the budget is in the process of being negotiated by the mayor's office with the city council. That said, I'll see if I can get any handle on what is going on with the open streets and circle back to the board.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Okay, anybody else have anything for Robin? Anybody online? Hearing and seeing no one and no hands, thank you very much, Robin. Let's move along. Andrew Chang from the Borough President's Office.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Andrew here from Manhattan Borough President's Office. Thank you to those who were able to attend our State of Borough address on Sunday over at Lincoln Square, Upper West Side. The Borough President, we had over, I believe, I estimated we had over 1,000 people attend. And so it's a very robust turnouts. The Borough President touched upon several initiatives, priorities. I will mention 2 here. One is housing affordability. With average rents in Manhattan surpassing $5,300 and 3-bedroom units exceeding $10,000 a month, The borough president, has reiterated the office's call to build more affordable housing across the borough of Manhattan. And he did mention one site that helps, which is 25 Water Street, America's largest office to residential conversion project. So, so hopefully we can get more affordable housing units across the borough with these conversions and other measures. Secondly, as as mentioned by Rosa and he did call for a greater investment in long-term psychiatric care, including the expansion of beds at the Manhattan Psychiatric Center on Randall's Island and Bellevue Hospital. He also asked for a student loan forgiveness program to attract more professionals into the psychiatric workforce. Then the next thing I want to mention, we have we took photos with Mark. I also want taking photos in front of the Step and Repeat banner. Those photos are uploaded onto our Flickr page. It's also on our website. The next thing I want to mention is that regarding our community board application process, we're done with interviews. Please stay patient, stay tuned. We're going to make decisions hopefully by early May. And I guess the next few things I want to mention is that we wrote a letter in conjunction with Councilmember Shekhar Krifkan's office to the mayor's office. We wrote a letter to the mayor's office urging the city of New York to reject President Trump's bid for the contract to operate Woolman Ringer. And then we also released an op-ed focused on our broken mental health system. And, it basically mentions the language that the borough president mentioned at the state of the borough. And then lastly, we're having a Manhattan fraud risk prevention workshop tomorrow evening. With the advent of AI technology, there are more and more scams and fraudulent activity out there to help that target individuals, including seniors. And hopefully this workshop will help educate everybody on how we can not become a victim to these scams. It's gonna be tomorrow from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Eddie Windsor Sage Center at 305 7th Avenue on the 15th floor. And that's my report for this evening. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks.
What time did you say? I'm sorry.
2 to 4 p.m. on tomorrow, Wednesday, at East Windsor Sage Center.
Thank you.
Vicky?
I just wanted to clarify, when you brought up 25 Water Street, and you said that was gonna help with affordability, is it like 400 market rate, like 125 affordable?
I don't know exactly.
I think I read somewhere.
I've seen
It's like 300 of.
really, yeah, it's 1,200 units, I believe.
Oh, okay,
It's one of the big ones and
Right,
25% affordable.
but 300 affordable. The city of 10 million. I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
We need 300, we need 30,000.
It is a raindrop in what's needed of a tornado.
But we have to start somewhere.
That's right.
Every
We're happy.
single one built.
I know, you know,
All right,
I
hold on.
couldn't say that for 7 years, right?
Okay, anybody else have questions for Andrew?
Um,
Go ahead.
I have one quick question. It's just again, with the Randall's Island facility.
Yeah.
That seems like an issue that's, easy for people to wrap their heads around as far as, imagining this facility fully up and running from 400 beds to what is it, 4,000?
4,000.
4,000. What are the obstacles to people, one hand talking to the other? What are the biggest reasons why this this conversation isn't happening in higher levels? People aren't using it as an issue for the public.
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure, but I can surmise that funding is.
Oh, sure. I mean,
Chris?
Or-
I've been trying hard not to call him out because he's in the back of the room and kind of listening, and we want to welcome and not embarrass, but let me introduce yourself, and we are delighted that you're even popping in.
Sure. Anyway, I'm Chris Carroll. I'm Mark Shiva's staff. Not my job, and you're doing great. Great question. And it's probably about 45 minutes to really get into it. So we should spend some time. The shortest version of this answer is that there are multiple types of beds in New York City. there are multiple barriers to getting people into those beds. The law is complicated, the way in which you get into an inpatient bed is exceptionally complicated. Even just in our emergency response system, you don't get into a bed just because you raise your hand for it. If someone is on the street and needs care, they first go to the emergency department, they have to go to what's called a CPAP. Only so many CPAP beds in New York City. You have to be under 72 hours, and you start figuring out from there. There was a huge disagreement in New York City about exactly how many and what types of inpatient beds are really needed. If you ask the OMH, Office of Mental Health, they will tell us that it's mostly forensic beds that we need, which is primarily justice involved. They're not wrong. We definitely need those. And we need to stop using Rikers Island as helps.
Amen.
Also need non-forensic inpatient beds in New York City. Bellevue, we have 19, nowhere near enough. We've seen over the last 1 year, we've lost about 400 inpatient beds across.
Chris, a little louder, please.
We lost about 400 inpatient beds overall the last 2 decades in New York City. We need to make those up. We're all seeing. And so I think that the barriers are about cost. It's about which types of beds can you get everyone to agree we need. It's about staffing. Actually, the cheapest part of creating a bed is creating the bed. It's far more difficult to actually have the staff available to then provide care at that bed. So that there are like lots of hurdles here to increase that capacity. We're seeing progress. Thanks to a lot of the work the state's doing. I think I take some credit. I think the borough president's work with the needle here is helping. OMH is now looking at tearing down one of these buildings, rebuilding a new modern inpatient facility. It would be in that part of Ward's Island. That's good. We think there could be more. There's gonna be more conversation about that. Everyone here, talk to Dan. Really is push on the state budget here, because that's gonna be a huge part of it. And the same thing in the city budget. Like every agency can play a role here. Well, city and state budget.
So Chris, as long as you're here, we really appreciate it. I'd rather have the time to hear real updates and talk about advocacy and how we can all get together to solve this problem, because it's gonna take a mountain of pushing for everywhere. Desi goes first, and then Rosa had her hand up.
Hi, I'm Desi. So obviously a lot of things need to happen at once possibly, but what's like the first thing that needs to happen? Is it a legislative issue and that moves everything else forward?
I think we're really talking money first.
Money. So there has to be a promise of money.
Like, we need to do a lot of work at the city level to increase reimbursement rates for all of the contracts with social workers, psychiatrists, outreach workers that are actually doing the work of getting someone care for the first time and getting them into a longer-term healthcare setting. We need to do a whole lot of money on like capital work, expanding the amount of space we can use for inpatient care, which is capital dollars, 1%. There's a lot of work like for H&H. There's money. How do you expand those beds? H&H is primarily self-funded, right? It's like a different type of agency. So figuring out how to get that money to go from 19 beds to 35 to 45 to Bellevue, like those are the money conversations that we have to really do some work on. The work around COLA adjustments needs out every year. The work around like reimbursement rates for some of these social service workers who are literally going out and talking to people on the street needs to go up. All that needs to happen. It's less legislative. It's more money. We need the money. The governor will say there should be more work done on involuntary care. I think there's like an argument for having a conversation, but what does it mean to get someone into care when you can really help intervene in a really bad situation? Certainly will care legislative, but I don't think that's our biggest problem.
Okay, because it seemed to have been, you can't take people against their will, but somehow people end up in prison, jail. So if we can shift.
I think that
where to
usually
go.
here, it's like 75% of the people who are actually taking voluntarily to an ED are then released. It's because there are like lots of reasons why, someone might have thought you need to go to emergency department, and a doctor will say, they're stable. You know, there's lots of work to do there. So I do think that, like, it's the money thing, it's getting the capacity, it's paying people to provide good care. And then we can, you know, fix the law issues that might exist, it's just money.
Thank you. But don't we pay like over $400,000 a year per person that we keep at Rikers?
Yep.
And don't we pay double time for all of our NYPD officers who are put in double at each subway line and subway station that we don't have enough staffing for? So aren't we actually paying more to deal with these issues on a downstream level versus dealing with them upstream and actually being humane about how we do this?
Correct.
So then if we could actually put the investment into a humane upstream solution rather than a really horrible and failing downstream solution, then wouldn't this all make our city a healthier, cleaner, safer place to live with people who actually get services that they need and that they can transition into supportive housing and all of those other things that, so what, I mean, that sort of seems like common sense. To spend less and to help people first rather than to spend more and deal with catastrophe after it's happened.
But Rosa, I think the issue of what Chris is saying, if I understand correctly from this far back,
Yeah.
is in order to save the money downstream, you have to put the money upstream to get the situation created.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're never gonna get off the hamster wheel. It always runs. In order to get people off the wheel one by one, you actually have to spend the money up front to get everything. I mean, Chris, tell me if I'm wrong on that.
Military police is.
If we spend the money, it'll be up to good enough. Safe. We will see the return on that investment.
Okay.
To our three state representatives, could we do that, please? Just
Budget. Do we have anybody online who has questions for either Chris or Andrew? Not at this time. Chris, I really appreciate you stopping by. It's not that we don't like Andrew, mind you, but it's always fun to have you.
Doing great.
If you ever decide you'd like to come and do policy conversations with us, we welcome you at a committee.
Oh, yeah, I use on too much for that, but.
No, we would welcome that.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. We've done the mayor's office, so now we're down to Max. Councilmember Marquez's office. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Max from Councilmember Marquez's office. So I'll start with some land use updates. Back to the affordable housing conversation, right? So as we mentioned before, the mayor is proposing to sell off HPD's headquarters at 100 Gold Street, but with no restrictions on what can be built in its place. And so the RFP was released this month, and the RFP only mentions the 485X program, which would only require 25 to 30% of the floor area to be affordable in the building, but that's not actually required in the proposals. That's just an option provided to developers. And so Councilmember Marte continues to be opposed to this pawning off of city property without demanding affordable housing and, you know, a large amount of 100% of affordable housing. And again, this project would have to go through the council to be approved. So again, until the mayor is willing to actually put affordable housing and using public land for affordable housing, the council member will reject this proposal. On the budget, so again, we have exciting budget stuff going on in the city as well. So, right, budget negotiations are ramping up now, and the council member has been active working with council members and the advocates to push back on the austerity budget that the mayor has been proposing. Right, today, the council member was with ACE advocating the street cleaning service to fight back against the mayor's plan that would, again, without going too much into it, basically gut ACE. He was also at the community composting rally today with environmental and parks and sanitation activists to restore funding and, you know, stop cuts to community composting. Last week, he was at City Hall again with environmental activists and the Play Fair for Parks Coalition to restore the parks budget and to get it to 1% of the city budget. So again, the Parks Department, since COVID, has lost 800 employees. And so we are trying to get the park department back to the 800 employees it had pre-pandemic, so we can actually fully staff our parks and all the support that's going on behind the scenes. And then lastly, on the advocacy side, he's also been working and was at the rallies to restore the universal 3 in pre-K and to expand this to 2 care as well. Again, we're seeing childcare is again, my mom's a preschool teacher, so I know a lot about this. This is like one of the biggest costs for young parents and families. And so, right, and we know from the past decade that universal pre-K, 3K has worked. And so again, the council is working really hard to make sure we can stop these cuts to these programs that we know work. And then kind of on a more local level, participatory budgeting voting is going to start next week. And so the official dates are going to be from March 29th to April 6th. And the Community Board 1 projects are going to be auditorium renovation at PS 234, tech upgrades for the Richard Green High School of Teaching, new planters for Barnett Newman Triangle, and then adding tree guards to the street trees across District 1. And then there's a few others that I can, outside of Community Board 1 area. And so we will be having voting both online, and that link isn't out yet. The council hasn't provided us the link for voting, but once that's out, we'll be able to spread that around, send it to Tammy and Zach to share with the community board. But we'll also be doing in-person voting as well. So we'll have our office every workday, right, Monday to Friday next week, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can come in and vote in our office. And we'll be doing tabling throughout the district at Manhattan Youth in Community Board 1, the Educational Alliance Manny Cantor Center on East Broadway, and the Chinatown YMCA. And again, I can go through all the dates now of the times, but it's different each day, or I can also just send Tammy to send that all out. That's probably easier than going through 9 days of dates right now. Yeah, and so, yeah, that's that. And then on community updates, so this month, our office worked with a lot of the senior tenants in the IPN who've been having a lot of issues renewing screeds, Section 8 vouchers, rent stabilized leases, a lot of issues. And we've seen the HPD has not been doing a great job of able to process everything and kind of respond to everyone in a timely way. So our office brokered a meeting between tenants in the IPN and HPD to streamline the voucher recertification process and to kind of create direct points of contact between tenants and HPD, and to kind of set up a recertification day where all seniors in IPN can come meet with HPD directly. And so we hope to have more information on that in the future. And then lastly, 2 more things. So Councilmember Marte went on a walkthrough with Alice and Zach with the new DEP Borough Commissioner to go through the various green spaces, green streets in Community Board 1, especially in Tribeca, such as Barnett Newman Triangle, the Holland Tunnel Rotary, that are really kind of either dilapidated or just underused and have not been kind of refurbished and, planted to the extent that they should be. And so again, we have some really good next steps on how we can kind of improve these green spaces, expand them, make Tribeca and, Community District 1 more resilient. And I think Alice, right, didn't they, after the walkthrough, they improved some things in Barnett Newman, they planted something I saw, or am I thinking of something else?
That sounds great, but that didn't happen,
Okay, so I'm thinking of something else.
But that, well, we brought it to the attention of the
Yeah.
council.
So I'm just confusing something else.
Mostly that we had the new DEP Borough Commissioner, Marty Batul, come and see the situation of the green streets in our neighborhoods and understand a little bit of what the needs are. So that was a real win, and having the council member.
I thought we also got something planted, but that was clearly something.
Well, there is a tree coming, supposedly.
Oh, okay.
Soon, coming soon to a park near you.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, it was a great meeting, and thank you.
Great. And so, yeah, just last thing. So on Thursday, April 10th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m., we'll be hosting a Local Law 97 info session with the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice, the New York City Accelerator Program. It'll be a chance to kind of learn about the law, compliance, resources to get assistance. And so we sent out an invitation with the Zoom registration link in our newsletter today. We'll be sending out emails to individual property owners, managers, co-op boards, condo, boards this week. And so again, if you're interested in that, if you're on a condo or co-op board, if you're an interested tenant, someone who is, feel free to reach out to us, and yeah, we're happy to kind of send you the registration link for that. And I will then take any questions.
Can I have that? I had that.
Yes.
Okay. So I have some questions for you, but I'll wait for the board to go first. Anybody have anything in the room? Quiet. Anybody online? Mark, hi, Mark, sorry.
Hey, no worries. This might be a good question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Elizabeth Street Gardens, I think have.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, the issue with that. I mean, the HPD commissioner just discussed me. Every time you see on TV, he says, We need to use every piece of land, like quote unquote, like, so there'll be no more parks anywhere. I mean, what a lunatic. So the lunacy of this eviction, can you give us any update on,
Yeah, I
any
mean,
hope?
I mean, we'll be honest, I mean, it's not looking great. Yeah, I mean, again, this is something the council member been, even before he got in office, right, has been working on. So again, it's not in this community work, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but yeah, again, the council member, he has been working right with the garden to propose alternative sites to HPD and the mayor's office, but they really have not been willing to engage in any meaningful way, and so, yeah, again, there's still one lawsuit that's being appealed now, so we'll see what that does, but yeah, but I think, that's kind of the long shot, if I think the garden is expecting, yeah, kind of anything.
It's just a shame, because I mean, there's so many alternate sites,
Let's keep the stuff that we need to go over.
Yeah, I know,
I'm sorry.
but this is a microcosm of everything that we have to deal with.
It's true.
And the insanity of government.
Like the destruction of the pops. That's been, which is in our district, which you were notified. So I'm gonna go back to what Alice said earlier. If you can help us figure out what on earth is going on with the pops over there, how it was able to be fully demolished without any kind of proper due process, even though we were all watching it. So it's kind of really disconcerting for us.
Is that at 77 Water?
That's at 77 Water. And then there is a public hearing coming up for DOT for open dining, which we got notice of on Saturday night. Community boards aren't open on Saturday nights for April 23rd. No, the public hearing is April 3rd. So it's, I don't know if we were supposed to have more than 2 weeks notice or how it works. Again, I want to just double check on that, but even with the organization of how they do things, if DOT could organize it by community board, then the community board who is looking to testify can go 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 4, 12, and 20. And especially as we're looking forward to really having a robust roadway and sidewalk dining experience this summer, having the ability to partner going back and forth and get all the comments in and out in a succinct manner would be really appreciated if you could.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, yeah, we'll push that tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else have anything else? Fantastic, thanks so much. He was here, Peter from Alvin Bragg. Peter had to leave.
He's a few tonight, so.
Yeah, he has many boards tonight. So Peter was here from District Attorney Bragg's office. We did hear at Borough Board this month that they have been doing the discovery reform conversations at many community boards, which we're gonna have a discussion at CB1 in April as well. But I think what would be helpful, so you have a broad understanding of the topic, we've heard from the DA's office, we were gonna discuss it in April, we didn't, we let it sit. Many other boards have had the ACLU and other public defenders come and do both sides of the conversation. So what I thought would be really helpful in the whole process, so we don't have to reinvent it, is getting the links to all the other community board meeting topics and sharing it out, so then we can have a discussion instead of having to rinse and repeat. Because a lot of the other boards have already done a lot of the hard work on that. And I think that for the one time, we might actually be able to just say, hey, look, watch these 5 videos and come prepared to the meeting. So that's my comment for District Attorney Bragg. And then I want to give a shout out in terms of not elected officials, but the BPCA is here, Becky. And I don't know if she wanted to say anything, but did want to give her the opportunity if she wanted to unmute herself and report out.
Hi, Tammy. Thank you so much. Just here, we want to thank you guys for taking the time to discuss Pier A and everything else. And we're still working hard on resiliency. So if you guys have anything for us, feel free to reach out. But I don't have much tonight. I'm just here to listen. But thank you so much.
Okay, fantastic. So with that, let's hit the district manager's report, chair report. And remember, Sophie. Sophia's here. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm late.
Apologies, we almost ran you over.
Sorry, can you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
My name's Sophia. I'm from Congressman Dan Goldman's office. I apologize that I'm coming in virtually, but it got a little bit laid up tonight, unfortunately. In terms of what the congressman is doing, it's pretty split between working in the district specifically to be protecting federal programs that working class Americans and many Americans rely on as for vital assistance. Earlier this month, the congressman led a letter to Secretary Turner, the HUD secretary, demanding that he reverse staff purges as per DOJ's recommendation at HUD offices, HUD regional offices around New York City, between NYCHA and then Newark. They are two of the largest housing authorities in the country, with only 5 regional offices to look over and to provide help to constituents in either Newark or New York City. So these purges are just completely unacceptable and are going to really harm the way in which people are able to receive assistance through public housing. The congressman was proud to have secured over $50 million in IRS employee retention credits, which were originally accrued during COVID, and have been pushed back by the IRS. The congressman led a letter earlier in December demanding that they push forward, especially for small businesses, these tax credits that are super, super valuable, especially to keep things running. And we were super happy to secure 50 million. Specifically, we got tax credits for over 600 small businesses, which was really wonderful. The congressman also is currently working to formally establish the African Burial Ground Monument as both a national monument and a museum, and also proudly delivered, along with Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, $2 million in federal funds under something called the Reconnecting Communities Grant, which will go to Arches Plaza and work to reconnect the communities of like Chinatown, everything under the Brooklyn Bridge that has been long disconnected. They're also going to add a public park in. There's a lot of cool things in the works. They haven't given specific, or we don't know yet what it's going to look like, but we're very excited. And in DC, the congressman is working very specifically right now to reaffirm the 22nd Amendment, which would not allow Donald Trump, regardless of what he may joke about or what his fans will say, to run for a 3rd term. That is the constitutional amendment that keeps presidencies at 2 terms. He is working to fix the World Trade Center health program shortfall in the funding and make sure that it is that funding stays through for the World Trade Center until indefinitely. But this new stopgap would make it would ensure it to 2030. And he is also working to safeguard public schools against Trump's efforts to dismantle public education. Obviously, a really big executive order came out on Friday, and we are working in multiple channels to try and to combat it in any way possible through the minority. And that is all I have right now.
Alrighty. Anybody in the room, hands up for Congressman Goldman's office? Anybody online? Now, the fun thing is, there were a lot of questions for you at the beginning of the meeting, but
I apologize.
That's okay. We'd encourage you to come and visit and talk with us on other times. We know you're busy in DC, but definitely having a closer connection so we can understand, for example, how the funding is going to affect vouchers for housing and housing development and other things like that. We did see the governor in strikeout today back to the federal government. Yay, about how much funding we get for the federal government for transit, and trying to have, you know, if we provide 37% of the transit, 17% of the funding isn't the appropriate ratio for that. So things like that would be really appreciative, because we all know that no one wants to raise the fares on the people who work here if we're getting short-shrifted by the government overall.
Wouldn't say no one,
You want to pay more?
I wouldn't say no one wants to raise it.
Well, I said no one wants to pay more. Pat?
Sophie, just remind everyone that isn't there a town hall meeting tomorrow night?
Yes, there is a town hall meeting tomorrow. It is going to be virtual. We have sent out links in multiple newsletters, but if you haven't received the link and you're interested in attending, you could call our office in the morning. I don't have the link handy, unfortunately, but we are going to be signing people up day of, I believe, just manually. And we are taking most of the town hall will be about constituent questions, so we don't have a super strict agenda as of now. But any questions you want to give to us in advance, please give us a call tomorrow and we'll pass that all along to the congressman prior to the town hall.
Okay, if you send the link, Sophie, to us now, we'll distribute it online and we can send it to the board.
Absolutely, I can do that.
Yeah, you can send it to Zach. That'd be perfect. All righty, well, thank you very much for coming and enjoy the night. Thank you. Take it away, Zach.
Okay, we'll try to go quick here. So the community board was audited by the city comptroller, and I am pleased to say that we passed the audit with flying colors. Mostly,
Yes.
The board has been keeping great financial records because of Lucy, and Lucy responded to many requests from the audit. So thank you. So we are part of the Department of Aging's Senior Community Service Employment Program, where we have a temporary employee, where we give them it's designed to give them older adults opportunities with the goal of helping them gain skills and experience to transition to unsubsidized employment. And we just recently transitioned employees, and our new employee is Tracy Howard. And this is her second week. And so if you see an email from Tracy at mcb1.nyc, that is our new Department of Aging employee. They're on 6-month cycles, and Tracy has been great so far. And so we're really happy to have her on board.
Be kind when you call and you email. Be kind. Remember, she's learning our ropes. We're not exactly a quiet or easy group, so.
So exciting news. Resolutions are now up on Airtable. And so we're demoing this for the board. The website is coming soon, not yet up, but the resolutions are there. And these are searchable resolutions, which is exciting because that is a brand new feature that we're able to roll out. These records go back to 2003. So if you can see the search tool there, it's that magnifying glass to be able to search, or you can filter, and you can filter by your committee and other micro filtering options. So that is the link. I'm not going to put it on the website yet, but that'll be it for all of you to check out and play with. And last, we've gotten some complaints about some chronic homeless locations in the district, and it's come up at District Service Cabinet, and I've been able to put together some of the locations where we're seeing chronic homelessness in the district. These are the sites where we currently have them. If you have other sites that you know of, I want to try to compile a list and then take that list and try to do a walkthrough or some other work with the agency and the street outreach folks to see what we can do and kind of try to, maybe we can pick off some of these locations. Yeah.
Can you describe what you mean by chronic homelessness? Like, is this one person living at this location for an extended period of time?
Some of them is one person, some of them is multiple people. So if you think of Peter Minuit Plaza, that's going to be multiple people. And 105 Reed is a single individual.
Could we also add Drumgold, please?
Yes, I would ask that you email Zach. We want to start a paper trail on it. So it's, the subtitle is chronic homeless location in CB1 and the date and your, obviously the month that we're sending it. That way we can track it, and no offense, Rosa, but that at least if Zach gets 3 or 4 or 5, then he's able to do that amount of reporting back, and that's going to be super helpful. Is 76 Trinity a gentleman who's on the grade? I'm not gonna go over individuals here.
No,
It's
because if it isn't, then I'll call in.
just send it all in. Right? But we don't want to go over individuals. We want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can to get help to as many people and get the outreach team notified as often as we can be a pain in the butt. Anybody else?
Okay, that's it for me. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you for all the fabulous work that we do, in particular for Women's History Month. Thank you to my Alice over here.
Oh.
And to Tej and to Lucy, because this job would not be the same without them, trust me. Again, I'm gonna keep going. Remember, we've done a really good job of getting out of here. Next slide. All right, it's been really busy. This month has been kind of crazy. That's where I've been. The most fun thing that I've done this month, let's see, East River Park Waterfront Working Group. I had so much fun, I parked it twice. It's the East River Waterfront Park Working Group. We had another meeting today. We'll have another meeting next month, working to see if we can create some kind of community-based planning governance for the east side instead of having it be broken up by EDC in little tiny chunks. So that's probably fun, the most fun I've had. Yeah, so we, Zach and I did meet with Councilmember Powers' office this month about the ticket vendors. We had conversations about it at the Board of Trustee meeting for the Battery. Zach went to the press event for more bike lanes, which was awesome up 6th Avenue. We had a park row meeting with the CCBA. Alice and Zach did the DEP walkthrough with Green Street, which was awesome. We also heard a Little Island summer update in relation to the Hudson River Park Advisory Council, which is really awesome. And I did testify about the jail contract and our concerns about the DPJ with budget, scope, scale, and everything at City Council on the 7th. We should be listening this month. Let's go to the next. Oh, and Dr. K, thank you for going to the LMH cab as always. Francis is rolling off as the second person on the LMH cab. So if you are interested in alternating on the cab with Dr. K, please let us know. Next slide.
LMH is what?
Lower Manhattan Hospital. Yeah. So there's lots of things that we talk about in meetings, committee meetings. Some of them I'm in, some of them I'm not. I can't be everywhere, nor do you want me everywhere, right? You can only be so many places. So what we really need when we talk about something in a committee is to then contact Zach. And so it was like, wait a minute, where did this slide come from? I haven't seen it. But we talked about a cobblestone working group. Currently, Laura is the person who goes out and works with DDC to go, and Betty has done it as well, to check the cobblestones. But we talked about in transportation, you have a cobblestone working group, go and see all the different streets that are cobblestone that we think really need to be documented and fixed. Taking the photos, issuing it to 311, forwarding all that, and getting a list and a working group together. Same thing for parking, right? We're no longer a manufacturing district. Do we have leftover parking things that need to be changed? Where could we improve the situation for parking? And maybe take it from, I mean, where do we have a no parking zone that's full of placards? If it's full of placards, for goodness sake, let's just make it pay parking and stop the arguments, right?
I agree.
Scaffolding checkup that goes directly with what the Downtown Alliance is talking about and what Max is talking about. Getting groups of neighbors together to take a look and say, you know what? All of us in this room know how long a scaffolding necessarily has been up on your own building or on your neighbor's building. If you feel it's been that too long, people sometimes are like, well, you know, that's just the way it's always been. Well, let's get it reported. Let's get it sent to the office. Let's get a follow-up, right? Outdoor dining site checks. It's hard. There's a lot of conversations that come out. This will be a ripe conversation for the next couple of years. And what we have on other boards like CB2, CB3, a lot of other boards have groups of people from the board who actually do site checks. Because you can't expect everybody to be everywhere. So if you're in your neighborhood and you know that something's coming, maybe you're the person who says to Susan and Francis and Gabby, hey, I see that this is on the agenda. I'll go take some photos and send them in for you. Or I can't come to the meeting. Here's some information. It's the way that you can help other board members and share the load. what I think would be helpful is if we got a volunteer from each district, like Tribeca, Battery Park, Fidei, and you just contact Susan and I and say, look, this is what I've seen, blah, 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 blah. That would be extremely helpful because Susan does a lot of walking around, but I don't, a lot of times I don't get over to Battery Park City and some parts of Tribeca. I don't get to, and I don't know every inch of Fidei. So if you're that would willing to be a extremely volunteer, helpful. Email Zach with, hey, I don't mind volunteering. It doesn't have to be one person. It could be more than one person. But the goal is we have 50 people on this board. And we would love to have some of the people rise up to help in any other way that you can. So any way that's possible, please feel free. Trisha.
I'm just gonna say, you could even, and maybe this is what I just heard, but you could take parts of each. Because if we look at the whole board, I'm very happy to take Southern Tribeca. Because that's my Northern Tribeca. So that would be an hour, you know what I mean?
So I'm not gonna tag you by your address. I'm gonna ask you to email Zach what your zone is. And then we'll get it coordinated with Francis and Susan. So, Mark?
Yes, thank you. As you know, I've been advocating for years about the curbside parking. Dated, and appreciate you bringing it up. Any effort on that regard, task force, working group, whatever, I'd be happy to spearhead that for you.
I'm well aware. That's why it's on here. And since you've mentioned it many times, that's why it made it.
Curbs, the cobblestones as well.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of the conversations. We talk about a lot of things that it goes away, comes back 3 months later, 4 months later. We just can't keep up with everything. So if you're in and you're willing, don't be hesitant. Next slide. Oh, Richard.
Two questions. So on the prior slide, you mentioned a meeting with George Janes, the LMI update. Could you share what that was? And also, is there an update on the urban planning task force?
So we met with George about the urban planning task force to tell him we were forming it, because that's how far away we were. We met with George about, because he did the follow-up work for us, analyzing what was possible at 250 water and not, and he presented an exec for us for that, because we don't have an urban planner. So we would understand from a community planning perspective, what we have done by resolution, how the permits are, what permits would be available, how that could change. So that was our meeting, and he was prepping us for the next spot, which was coming to exec meeting. And then the community planning meeting will come next month, because we just, between the bomb of 250 water being up for sale and 100 gold, not a lot of time for a lot of stuff. Community planning. That's what. Oh, and he'll be at land use for 100 gold, Zach just reminded me. So yeah, and at land use in April will be the resolution on what community board wants at 100 gold in response to the RFP. All right,
One thing on your last slide, the scaffolding piece, just a reminder, there's that scaffolding. We were invited to that scaffolding press conference tomorrow. You got an email from me.
Yep, go. Show support. Let's get the scaffolding down. Follow-ups in the pipeline. So just so you understand, the photo on the left is that new kiosk that the ticket vendors have decided to set up for themselves, completely illegal. And on the other side of the tree, there's a homeless group sitting there. So it's just a fantastic thing at Peter Minuit Plaza. And then you see, thanks to Mimi, who's shared all these photos, about the illegal street vending throughout Battery Park. So if you can get into the entrance past the ticket hawkers, this is what you've got when you get in there. We did hear from City Hall saying that they're thinking about trying to figure out a task force that would meet monthly to address some of the issues. They know we're working on legislation. Haven't heard since we had a deputy mayor shuffle. So we'll see what happens with that. But up and coming, the letter just went out. Everybody should get it. That was sent to the new deputy mayor regarding 320 Pearl. Jared and Brendan, who lead our cannabis on board members, are gonna, with the office, gonna meet with Chairman Wright from OCM. We got an audit, another audit, now that we finished one, another one about employment practices. And there's a public hearing on April 3rd for outdoor dining applications, which is relevant for us. If I will send the link around for the public hearing to everybody, so you can take a look and see who's on there. I will tell you quickly, Hold on a sec, they're not in order, so it's a little tough. Two Hands is coming up for a public hearing. Bubby's is coming up for a public hearing. Okay.
See.
Yeah, there's there's 3 or 4 from us that are on this list, but they're all jumbled together, so it's kind of hard to find.
What's the significance of a public hearing versus what we've been doing with these things?
So if for some odd reason they decide to chuck with the community board, they've agreed to the community board, it goes to a public hearing, or there's also a required public hearing for a roadway cafe. So it's just about understanding and hearing, and I think at the public hearing, you understand if they did an FDNY variance, because we don't know that when they get here.
Communities can make,
Anybody from the community can join. These are open to the public.
I know why.
Just to clarify, the sidewalk cafes.
There's roadway on here as well.
Right,
so.
those can get called up, but the sidewalk ones.
Okay. So there we go on that.
So sidewalks are required, roadways can be called up.
Yeah. All right, next slide. Rule change. So we had, a couple of us had a brief discussion about this. This was just announced, DOT changes for the pedestrian plaza and open street partners through concession agreements to submit sub-concessionaires and designate areas of the plazas and open streets for exclusive use for their subtenants. So since this involves both economic development, public space, usage on public space, even though it's administered by DOT under their plaza program, because currently there are no rights for exclusive use, all public space. The hearing is April 23rd. It doesn't exactly come with our timeline. So the topic will be heard in executive. We'll talk about it in exec. We'll vote on it in exec, and then we'll provide public comment on the 23rd. Okay? And so if you are at all interested, we're going to look at land use, but it would have to be voted on anyway. If it went to transportation or it went to land use, it would have to be voted on and ratified at exec because of the timeline for public comment. We'll just do the whole thing in exec, and DOT will be invited. Next slide. Okay, lots to consider, lots happening. Biggest thing at the end of this slide to try and think of, we'll have a presentation from Netta Oshikori in April, who's been going to the artist selection panel for the updates for Seaport Coastal Resiliency. We'll have a follow-up from the FIDA Resiliency Public Engagement, which is all about the resiliency going through the battery in the spring. And then we have obviously updates on the other 5 large projects going on in CB1, which are FIDA Seaport, the Coastal Resiliency for the Seaport, which is funded, PBJ, the PPCA, 100 Gold, 320 Pearl, and then any volunteers who wants to find a budget-friendly location, because it's not going to be Lucy or Pat or I this year. And who wants to send out a save the date for May 4th? To get together, don't have to all jump up now, but emails out. And with that, I close my chair report.
Did you reach out to find it?
Oh, Andrew, I see your hand up, sorry.
No, but I'm going to.
Question regarding the shelter and proximity to the school. We've heard an awful lot from the community. For the most part, very little from elected in the mayor's office. Is there anything more that you think we can be doing to help push this forward?
I sent out a letter to the brand new deputy mayor today. All of our elected officials have weighed in, including Mark Levine, who normally doesn't take a spot on something so like this. He, at the last meeting, said it's incorrectly cited. Having the front door 5 feet from a door used by the school, it's really not right. The only thing we've heard from City Hall is come from the controller's office, who said, I have no legs to stand on. So here we are now again. Yeah, they have no legs to stand on to deny them the right to register the contract. So here we are now going back again to City Hall under the new deputy mayor, welcoming them. And I'll share the letter, and it basically ask for City Hall to talk to the people and constituents and to come and talk to us and see what can be done.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does that mean that the contract between the city and Breaking Ground is done? It's
Not signed, I don't think I'm not gonna speak for them. I'm not gonna speak for them, and I just know that the buck stops at the mayor's office. He was, strong enough to be able to tell people, the buck stops here, I make all the decisions, well, then let's have a deputy mayor come and talk to us. Andrew?
Sorry, follow up. We're in such a difficult environment with everything the city's dealing with. It's realistic to think the deputy mayor, particularly first couple of weeks in office, is going to focus on this specific of an issue. And I guess where I'm going with this, is there anything at the governor's level that, given her involvement in making sure the city's still operating, our inability to get answers to this, is something we perhaps raise at that level?
We've been told it's a local issue. Tricia and then Eric.
I know what we're told. We're not getting results. Chris Marte has taken a stand on it, but he has a lot of issues as well.
So does Assemblymember Lee, she stood, Kavanaugh stood, like, they've all stood up and said, this isn't the right siting for this location.
What I was gonna ask is, can we get everybody all at one time? Can we get a letter signed by everyone? Can we do something that, use some strategy here? If what we're doing isn't working, then take it up a notch so that they can see the enormous amount of support.
So what we sent today to the new deputy mayor included the letter from all of our electeds who said this isn't the right thing, who all signed on to a joint letter. There's a lawsuit, goodness knows at the end of the day, maybe that'll win, but it's not lost on me that not only have our electeds been ignored, not only has the community been ignored. I mean, the mayor just is doing what the mayor is doing.
Well, the mayor does answer to the governor. And so maybe that's, a strategy then, if they're not listening to us and we're in danger of this thing opening, maybe that isn't too hysterical. Maybe,
Maybe it's not, but let's give her, we sent the letter today, we reinforced it with Robin again. You've asked for the letter, I sent a copy of the letter to you as chair of Youth and Ed, so we'll see, it's.
You don't think they'll make a move before coming back?
I think they will do whatever they want to do, but I think we need to give her the due diligence and opportunity to respond. If we don't get a response before the next full board, I think our next response before the next full board is a letter to the governor saying, we can't get a response from our elected's office.
Right.
And so, you said you'd step in to have oversight over the mayor's office. How about helping us? It's not a where you really want to go. Unless that's your last resort, and that is our last resort. You've already gone, Rosa. And Eric.
One thing actually to tag on to that is I remember when at SPS 150, we were at risk of getting evicted and being homeless. One of the ideas that we had considered as parents was to basically have a press conference ticket line with very young children, invite everybody to come and see what the risk was to these kids that are there, and perhaps we could work, or the PTA honestly should be leading this if this is something they would be interested in
Definitely,
doing.
it's what we did against Cuomo when he wanted to take a third of Rockefeller and convert it into a gas-powered memorial.
I think that we're talking about fighting for the children, but the children are not actually center stage in this discussion. Perhaps they need to be more center stage, and that would actually put more public pressure.
I think it was a consideration. I just think due to the content, they're so young to sort of wrap their head around what this is about. That, when we were picketing with the kids over overcrowding and things like that, it's something that they can assimilate better. But, certainly it's an option. But when I look back on, I mean, I look at the fact that the federal government is really super curious about all the problems that New York is having right now. You know, and I just feel as though maybe we can, this is good timing for the government, or, you know, to do something that is maybe a little controversial.
All right, Eric, and then Susan, and then Cody, and then I want to wind it up. Sorry, Morton, because we're not solving the world's problems yet today.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, regarding 320 Pearl Street, I think the board should we should pass a resolution saying there should be no homeless shelters of minimum distance, similarly like how we have it for liquor licenses away from, minimum distance from schools. I think we should do that, to go on record beyond the letter with a resolution saying that this should set the precedent for other future homeless shelters. It doesn't make sense how we don't have this minimum distance. And I know the electeds, they don't support it, but I think that's something, at least we're saying this would be something definite that we need.
And I think that can come either out of land use, or if we're tagging it very specifically only to schools, we could do that in youth and ed. Like, you're talking about distancing from schools, you're talking about a land use kind of a conversation, but yeah, either way, I don't think if that's what the board wants, but that's a discussion that should be had directly in committee, so we can get a couple more people in to talk about it. Susan, you're next. And you're muted.
I just wanted to know who filed the lawsuit.
Families of PS 150.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pexlet. Goodness gracious, sorry about that. Pexlet. Yeah, it's another P. All right. Cody.
Just a quick question. This may have been answered before, but how I mean, is this the 5 feet of one entrance to the next entrance? Has this occurred in other parts of the city?
This is new. They have never had a shelter in all of New York City that I have been told that is as close as this one. They have one that is across the back, like, there's a school uptown that has a backyard, a fenced-in yard that's elevated, and there's a shelter that is across the street from the back of the yard, but all of the entrances and everything are on the other side of the yard. And that shelter actually has been there was always a shelter, never had a different use. It was always a shelter of some form. So it's a very different, it's new.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and so with that, Eric, I think you should have a conversation with Tricia and with Patrick, and between the three of you, figure out if you're doing something that's forward-facing, not quality of life, but forward-facing for future sightings of shelters, that it should come out of one or the other of those committees.
Okay.
All right, let's roll. 35 Wall Street cannabis. Any questions? Any comments?
Just noting that today we got petitions from the neighboring building, 37 Wall Street, about 60 petitions and a letter from their board in opposition to this.
Okay, Rosa.
We're at 20 Pine, and obviously not in support.
Also noting though, the board has approved this, a different applicant at this location twice, I believe, so far.
Yes, we have. Brendan and then Mark.
Did they send community support signatures?
Umesh?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, for 35? Yes, they did. 1 B.
Was it inclusive of businesses and individuals?
You have it? Can you share it? And while she's looking for that, Mark?
Can we update the resolution with a whereas noting the recent petitions that was taken today?
Yes. For the record, read your amendment.
Is it in there?
Read the amendment, how you want it to speak. So changing 35 wall will be, whereas
Well, if we're gonna add adverse conditions, we should add the supported ones as well.
Yep.
Assuming there are supported ones.
Was 35 Wall the first one we approved ever?
I don't think so.
We had two other people come to us.
Well, that's what I mean. I think they were the first we approved for our
That
community,
location, yeah.
for recreational.
And Anej says she.
I mean, the first one that we approved is the first that we approved ever for any of it.
There have been others that were approved.
No, what I'm saying is that last year, when we first were starting to do this, they were the first that we ever approved in our community. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You are correct, Brendan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
So
I have 11 petition signatures in favor from 37 to
31.
75 Wall.
31, 37, 40, 75. Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. How many opposed?
Wall Street, those are Wall Street addresses.
11 people say.
11 petitions were received that were in favor of the opening of the location, and we received
60 from 37 Wall.
60 opposed.
against.
Yeah, well, that's really loaded for Black area.
Yeah. All right, so, Jeff, sorry.
Let me just add a couple of facts. If I understood correctly from the committee meeting, this building that has the number of people that oppose, I believe that condo actually manages or controls the physical space where this store is supposed to be. And at least what they told us at the committee meeting is that it was highly unlikely that they would ever allow the modification of that space to be done in a way that the store could actually operate.
Right.
That's just a fact. I have a question, and I don't really understand how this approval process works in relation to what we're used to on liquor licenses. When we talk about liquor licenses, we're always warned by Susan and others that if we just oppose, then whatever conditions we may extract will be likely ignored by liquor authority. Does it work the same way here? If we just oppose, do they just ignore what we say?
We don't know yet.
Yes. If you just oppose it and they have the distancing all set,
More than likely.
then everything that we do just goes out the door and they approve whatever.
Okay, so speaking for myself, I'm hesitant to oppose an applicant that otherwise complies with the regulations, even if all of their neighbors oppose it, because I understand that the Cannabis Control Board, whoever it is that approves these, is not gonna pay attention to that at all, and whatever
Correct. And so,
concessions we may have run from them just get ignored.
yeah, this one in particular, because it's not, this is one of the few that we did, this address in the very beginning, we've already approved 2 others at the location. We don't know why they didn't take the location. It could be that they found another one. It could be for 1,010 reasons. It could be the reason that this building won't allow them to open there and they can't get their permit. So,
We have said to them, they could withdraw.
They did not.
Without penalty, but do they didn't send in the petition with the 60 opposed signatures, so do they even know about it?
They do, because the building was there and told them.
Still, why they didn't withdraw, that's stupid.
They might not be able to get their deposit back, so.
Yep.
I don't understand, please help me. How can this petition go forward, the application go forward, if the location will not approve their lease?
So the commercial landlord has given them a lease. The commercial landlord.
Co-op doesn't control the space.
The co-op controls all the space around it. There is no running water into this current space. You would have to go through the residential condo co-op board, whatever it is, in order to get the construction done that he will need for the commercial condo space. There is bad blood between the two because the residents don't want a cannabis store. the commercial landlord is perfectly happy with having a tenant, period. So that's, you know, landlord tenant things that we don't want to get in the middle of. And I mean, we're stuck in a hard place. We will note that we got the 60 and opposed, but I don't see where we would, we have any kind of grounds. They agreed to the hours, they agreed to many of the other things that we put in here.
They're following the rules and prescriptions of the application. I think that's where we need to be.
Did they submit their plans, Onesh? Remember they had a very flaky, they didn't do anything. Did they submit what we asked them to submit?
Yes. Yeah, Susan, look at the resume, the images are there.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Jared, you might be able to explain this a little more precisely, or maybe you can help me, Ken. In regards to what you said, Jeff, the applicant otherwise is following the rules and regulations. The Cannabis Control Board ignores the rules and regulations, particularly in regards to, in relation to distances from schools and churches. So if they're gonna, all the rules are in there and they ignore it, and they still give the applicant the license, even though they shouldn't get it because they're in proximity to a school or a church where they shouldn't be. I mean, what else are we supposed to do?
It's a definition, Mark, that the community has versus the state regulated definition that they're using. So the church, right? But the rules that they're working for what is defined as a school allows something like 234, 276, 150, which are buildings unique amongst themselves, and Pexlet, but ignores things like Millennium High School because it's in a mixed-use building.
I don't think the legislation, as far as the cannabis goes.
We can argue that.
That's, it's meant like, with the HCC law,
It does.
it's the same thing, but with the cannabis thing, it doesn't say,
They made
square
rule
footage
making-
and a space and a freestanding building thing.
They
So-
do.
so-
They do.
They do.
They did. They use exclusive use.
So,
And that's the biggest argument that we have because it doesn't apply in New York City post Bloomberg era because Bloomberg offered developers who provided public benefits of building schools and mixed use buildings, tax credits and benefits and things like that. That program took off. We have lots of schools that are open now in mixed use buildings and the state does not recognize that then as being a school building.
There's also a denial based on the quality of life, whether
They don't
regardless of they have checked off every box to get the license. I don't see a problem with us denying the license based on that and.
They will not.
They don't care. I know they don't care, but as far as we're concerned, we shouldn't approve a license just because they check all the boxes. If there's strong opposition to it, just like with a liquor license, we're here.
We've approved two others for this location.
I understand that.
So like, I'm all about let them work on their landlord tenant issues.
So, by law, are they required to provide a restroom, like an accessible room?
Yes.
So then, so long as the landlord does, the building does not allow them to have water hookup, then that won't happen. So therefore, be it resolved that CB one opposes the granting of a new application for an adult, yada, yada, yada.
We don't, no, we don't know that. That's.
We don't know that, and we can't get in the middle of it. We really can't. As Tammy said, it puts us in a very bad position. We approve it with whatever comments we want to make, and it goes forward. I'm sorry to have to tell us, we have very few rights, as we know, in all of this. And I just don't want to cut our noses to spite our faces, as they say. So I would call the question if there's no more discussion. And then people have to vote however they want.
I do have a question. I couldn't figure out how to raise my hand.
Okay.
Bob, you can't have a question if your camera's not on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having technical difficulties here. I will do that now. Oh yeah, I forgot it was not on. Now you can see me and I can see you. Okay.
The question was called and seconded, so unless it's truly critical, if it's just a question that.
I'll be very brief. I'll be very brief. I agree
on
I
this
agree with
application.
Mark, okay, I agree with Mark's sentiment that they ignore us and they do what they want. And so I'm going to vote no on this resolution.
Thank
That was
you.
quick
Thank
enough,
you.
right, Tammy?
No, stop. Question has been called and seconded. We are moving forward, all right? This is a vote, and we got a lot of stuff ahead of us, and it's 8:05, all right? So, and, yeah, yeah. A vote by affirmation. We've had 3 board members, I believe, who have come
We've got like
since-
15 people that came in.
No, I've got Vincent, Mark, Megan.
If you weren't here for roll call, you need to call out your name,
All right, so. it's a
starting with
vote by-
Amarusa. Sorry.
Vote by affirmation. So are there any yeses for anybody who was not in the room for roll call?
Yes to 35 Wall?
Yes,
Because I thought yes is what the committee voted. That's
correct.
I need to know. Okay, so you want yes?
Yes.
If you were not in the room, but we did roll call,
Right.
you say your last name and your vote.
Okay, I thought you just wanted to hear.
Nope,
yeses.
hit it.
Tricia, yes. Joyce, yes.
Oh, y'all gotta slow it down now.
Joyce is a yes, Sung is a yes.
Amaruso's a no.
You, we're gonna call on people as.
And Maruso is a no.
Copel
is a no.
Capel, oh, didn't even see him. Capel is a no. Brown Kennedy abstains. Vincent?
Yes for me.
Wait, you have to, no, you gotta slow down. I'm at Copel. Who was after that?
Brown Kennedy abstained.
Lerner,
no.
Hey.
I got you, Joe.
I'm just gonna call on people
Yeah.
now.
Cell abstains.
No, nobody talk.
right.
Stop talking.
Remember-
Brown Kennedy, you, Hernandez,
Yeah,
you are what?
Yes.
he's a yes.
Okay, and who's up next?
Lerner,
I'm old. Somebody gonna mute.
who else was not in the room when roll call was done? Anybody else in this room?
Or online.
Is there anybody
Justine
else online
Puccia.
who was? And
Is it-
Puccia, what is your vote? Are you abstaining?
I voted no.
Okay.
And then there was somebody else online that voted.
Sarah.
Oh.
Have you ever been experienced?
Cassell did what?
Cassell, can you unmute and vote? Sorry, I muted you.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. All right, are there any other no's in opposition? In the room, raise your hand and we'll get you one by one.
No is an opposition, right?
Right, no in opposition.
Oh, already got me, right?
I got you, Mark.
You vote still.
Uh-huh.
Inslee?
Oh, Mensley, no. Okay.
Curtis, no.
I know.
Okay. All right,
You know the good and god darn well. I did not get all of that. So I saw Curtis.
you got Curtis, you
Uh-huh.
got Minsley, and you
No,
got
I
Shane.
didn't get Minsley yet.
Oh, Minsley.
Why don't I call on people so I can do it at the pace and also as I go up and down?
Okay,
Minsley, and then who was after Minsley?
Shane,
Shane.
okay. Are there
Ugh.
any no's online?
Brandon, I'm not sure if you got.
I did get yours, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, if this is a no, if this is 35 Wall Street you're talking about, no.
Okay, thank you.
Townley is a no.
Townley is a no.
Anybody else online?
Lerner, no.
Yes, I believe we got Lerner,
Anybody else?
Blank,
Blank abstains.
Which means, are there any more abstentions? Hearing none, seeing none online, no others online, are there any recusals? Fantastic, I believe motion passes.
yes, I believe so.
Okay, 139 Duane Street for Fonda, this is a sidewalk cafe.
You know for sure that the motion passes?
Yeah.
call the question.
I have a question on this, and it comes up several times in all of these applications for outdoor dining. It, for example, if you look at this sheet, you see that you have 5'3" and you have 3 tables that are generally 2 feet wide. The math is impossible. So I'm not sure how we are actually addressing that the fact is you have 6 feet with absolutely no space in between the tables, and yet we're signing off on it. Sorry?
She agreed to take out a table. It should be 2.
But now there's only tables on the.
I see. Okay, so,
Yeah.
so,
They changed it.
okay, so it's, okay, so the math is wrong.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, I think, okay, well, I'll come to it later. Okay.
So-
Yep.
So the map on the diagram has been updated.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Okay. There's no revised one, but that's okay. Fine. Okay.
Okay. So correct, there are 3 tables here for font, with 6 seats.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
They removed 1.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. So with that note, anybody else have any other questions for Fonda?
All the questions.
Called, seconded, too late. We're gonna go by affirmation. Are there any no's? Hearing none in the room, seeing none online. Are there any abstentions? Are there any recusals? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And not going over 250 water. If you need to hear the report, please tune in and you can listen to the YouTube. Same thing for the EDC survey. Next committee. I'm just gonna say the survey was just a load up. Keep going. Alice, it's you.
Okay, so, is there a slide for that or not? That was supposed to be on the, oh, where's that?
Here. You have slides?
Yeah, that's it.
There we
So
go.
that should be on the resolution, that particular slide, just so everybody, when they look at it 100 years ago, what we're talking about. Anyway, when it still won't be built. So this was as you might recall, the last month, I went over, the FIDI and Seaport Climate Resilient Master Plan updates, in the 3 different sections that you see here, the Resilient Ferry Hub, the multi-level waterfront park, and the Seaport Piers. We went over that. We then had a meeting, at Environmental Protection last week, and we took down all the comments, and there were many, and some also were sent in. And I did my best to, get them all in there. And, hopefully they'll be useful as things move on, and certainly as a record for where we were at as of 2020, what are we, 5, on this issue. So, if there's things you want to add, now's the time. If there are things that didn't make sense or that are incorrect. Okay, Tammy.
So one of the things that, where you've got Seaport Piers, there's, and pardon me, because I could have sworn that I might have seen it somewhere and I don't see it. It, talked, having to add, not only just add a 2-story design, but add active and passive recreation space.
Oh, that's everywhere else.
Right, but I mean, specifically for the piers, simply because it's a commercial.
Yep. Thought I also said to that party. Yep.
Paul?
Go ahead, Paul.
I just want to thank Alice and the committee for all the references to additional open space being incorporated into the plan. Thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you.
Do you have the new market site in there? Over, that's kind of.
Was, I did a lot of editing of this. After a while, I might have edited right out. It would be under the Seaport Piers.
Yep. If we can make sure that we put back in the new market site with a public recreation center.
Yeah, what's funny is I actually cited the resolution, so I will add that back.
Anybody else? Richard?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you, Alice, for pulling this together. It's really an extraordinary feat to do that, quite a presentation. I just have 2 questions for the committee, actually, in terms of recollection, because I just don't recall. Under the Resilient Ferry Hub, item 6, did we actually call for looking to move the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island tour boats into the ferry integration? First question for the committee. Alice, of course. And the second one, similarly, for the waterfront park, the multi-level waterfront park, item 4, relocating the regional and local ferry terminal to optimize public space.
So both of those were, I'll answer just that I know, because I know them too. But yes, we definitely had to discuss, both of these items came up. We're not asking to move the statute of limitations Ellis Island tour boats. We talked about investigating the potential of that. When I say we, one person suggested that and we all didn't say no. So if we now as a committee, is that accurate? And then the other point was consider relocating. That came from Chair Meltzer over here, as I recall, as wanting to move the ferry terminal, not the
security.
No.
No, you're talking, yeah, the
Now with
regional
the
part.
multi-level waterfront, the regional ferry terminal, Tammy, the
Moving
center,
it south.
you wanted to move south. So I don't put move, I say consider relocating or investigate. I have to be careful with those words, but not to move it, but to consider it. So I'm happy to,
Why not?
if everybody, why not? Well, I don't know. Richard, wants to make sure that was something that the committee wanted to have
I
considered.
don't think we discussed it enough to say we want that to happen, but I don't mind investigating.
I think that, okay, so maybe we should say
Yeah.
investigate the potential for
That's
relocation.
fine. Sure.
And it was, the only way to do that was to move, the conversation was potentially move it further south because you couldn't go north due to the subway lines is what they told us. And then it wasn't, I didn't think it was potential for Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island tour boat integration. It's for the Security Clearance Center.
Well,
Because the tour boats are staying, they have a contract with EDC along the battery, which the battery needs. It was about getting the Security Clearance
no,
Center.
that was another point that somebody else had brought up, the idea, why wouldn't you put them all there together? And, there was some pros to it.
The battery concerns.
Well, whatever the response is, it was sort of fair to say somebody thought it was something that should be looked at as to bringing them all together. If you want to say that it's already, I'm not going to, if the committee wants to vote it out, that's fine. So I would say we'll take a vote on that particular item. That's fine.
It wasn't how I remembered it. I remembered specifically about the Security Clearance Center, because that's what the Battery Conservancy is looking to have off the property.
Yeah, I think we thought the practicality of the ferries docking at the new ferry, the Statue of Liberty, because they're side loaders. And it didn't look like there would be side loading capability there, but.
Correct.
So do you want to vote it out, committee folk here?
Is this a resolution?
Yeah.
You have 3 minutes and I think you exceeded them.
Big and very complicated.
More than 6 tables of chairs at a coffee shop, and that gets an.
And not
But
extended.
just to say,
It's not my recollection of how the meeting.
all right, so I'm going to strike 6,
Okay,
and no one.
It wasn't it was the security center.
Rosa,
May I make a request for an amendment to the resolution, which is that, I feel like we're missing the single most important factor, which is that EDC actually does not have the funding to redesign anything past a certain period of time. I think that they said at the meeting that the funding.
yeah, so we had a whole
discussed that last
discussion
month.
on funding last month, and the
Yeah.
first whereas actually addresses that. So I
Yeah,
think it's
we
in
discussed
there.
that last month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
correct, and we have a whole resolution on funding
Okay.
from last month. So I think we're covered there, Rose.
Okay, thank you.
And it is there under the, fourth.
It's in the warehouse.
It's somewhere in there. I saw it.
I see, yes, I see that refers to.
Yeah.
First with funding and.
Funding and
Community
engagement. And I will, also, Zach will help me to link it to the other resolution. I'll link it to the resolution just on funding from last month. Good point. Thank you. Anything else on this one?
So for me, 6 would investigate the potential of Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island Security Center integration and possible tour boat. Possible what? Tour boat.
We should have security checkpoint designs. That's not good enough.
No, because everybody needs a security checkpoint. It's not just Statue of Liberty.
All right, so
It's-
what do you want it to say? And let's,
So 6 would investigate potential for Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island Security Center integration and possible coordination for boats.
so we're back with it.
Well, because if we're not ignoring it, we know it doesn't work. But my primary thing was to serve the Battery Conservancy, who is desperate to get the Security Clearance Center out of the park.
Okay, so we're back to having them investigated. Seems
Yeah.
rather benign. Okay, Eric.
Alice and the committee, does it make sense to add language, into this to state that, because I remember somebody was saying that there's no funding for this, but we have to state, I think we should state that they need to do this because more people are living in this area now. It's not before where it's a commercial district and it floods and businesses are, offices are closed. This area will have, and currently has, and will have more buildings where people reside. So if there's a flood without barrier, without the flood protection, I think it will be.
Yeah, we have, as I said, I'm gonna bring up that other resolution and we're then repeating it here and we'll link it to that. So I think that's a really good point, but I think this is really like already we accept that fact and have on each of the 7 resolutions, I think that I've written out this, they're all highlighting the need. So I think we're covered, but if.
It's,
Just-
it's,
can I just
it's
add
in from 2 months
The
ago.
the new constructions, right, post Sandy, are not repeating the same mistakes, like all the MEP systems are not in cellars, they're all been lifted, they're all on pads. And so there should be, there's mitigation already being.
Well, thank you for answering that for me. So I was wondering when I heard about it. So when they have a conversion, that means they're moving old mechanicals to higher levels.
Already, like it's such a huge gut that they take, it's my understanding that mitigation is applied.
Oh, great. Now what happens?
Stop, let's have this discussion after we focus just on this
Call the
resolution.
question. Last request that we change one word, item 4 in multi-level waterfront from consider, which I think is a little too positive from what we said, to investigate.
I did.
You did already.
Yes.
Okay, the
Accept.
question was called, was it seconded?
Yes, right.
Seconded, so this is a vote by affirmation. Assuming everybody is a yes, are there any noes? Are there any abstentions?
I abstain.
Kay abstains and Maruso abstains. Any other abstentions? Any recusals? Motion passes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's move on to the next one. Transportation. Jess or Betty?
I'll take it.
Oh, no, sorry. I look, that's Patrick. Hey, Patrick. Man.
Very quick, very quick. Scoop, ready? No resolutions on land use this month, mercifully, so, we did look over the RFP, for the 100 Gold Street, property, but we've covered that already. So, we got an update from the Seaport Entertainment Group, which is the spin-off public entity from the old Howard Hughes Corporation that really runs now and programs the spaces around the historic South Street Seaport. Really 2 things to focus in on from that report. There's this area called the North Porch of Pier 17. It's the north side where you can see the Brooklyn Bridge, very pretty area. Seaport Entertainment Group is looking to upgrade or update that space in a way that they say will help them activate and deal with some conflicts. So the conflicts that they're having right now in the use of the space are between dog owners in the morning who want to have their dogs off leash, others throughout the day, and including some older folks who go there and practice Tai Chi and some other exercise classes throughout the day. They're winding up sort of on tables underneath, and according to Seaport Entertainment Group, there's a bunch of different conflicts going on. So they want to reconfigure that North Porch area space a bit. According to them, they are not adding any kiosks. They're going to reconfigure. There are some photos. Tammy, if we can slide.
Next slide. There you go.
Yeah, here we go. This is the existing plan for the North Porch. This is where they have those cool little swinger swinging things. They've got some kiosks, as I said, and some seating that's around there. And then they have the undulating benches that go down sort of at the bottom. Right, next slide. This is the proposed plan. They want to add 6,500 square feet of turf right in the middle, and then reconfigure the seating a little bit. They're keeping the bench space as is, and then they're going to add an indoor-outdoor bar that we understand is going to be run by the folks from Malibu Farms. And again, the turf features of that space will be used for many different activities, they say, and they're thinking things like movie nights, et cetera. And of course, the seniors would have that to exercise on. It obviously wouldn't be used by the dogs and the dog run. They're not really asking us for any kind of approval. They're just presenting this plan. Once they get their designs a little bit more together and finalized, they're going to plan to apply to the Department of City Planning for a chair certification to make this happen. The other update, if you can go forward.
Justine, you have to wait until she's done.
Wait. So this is kind of what it would look like, a rendering on the bottom, current and proposed. This is the north porch redesign. And we can go to the next one. Okay, this is currently the look from Pier 17. If you look up to the rooftop, they have the summer concert series. They're looking to do that in wintertime, but to do that, one more slide, they're proposing to add, you see this, they call it a tent. It's really sort of like an atrium structure. They want to put it up so that they can do, as I said, winter concerts they want to do about 30 concerts over the period from November to mid-March every year. And they are looking to see how it goes for 1 year, and then they'll probably go through a public review process to make it a permanent installation. Again, they are just sort of letting us know that that's what they want to do. But those were the two, I'd say, major updates, trying to keep the time. Okay, question.
We've got Justine who had her hand up online first. So Justine, you're going first.
So much. I just had a quick question with the AstroTurf. Did they say why they weren't considering just putting grass? Because that's gross. If they're looking to have a place for the dogs to go, having AstroTurf is a really poor choice.
Laura Starr did encourage them to rethink the material that they might use in there. Anybody who's been on AstroTurf or has kids who've ever played Little League, you get those little rubber black pellets all over the house. That was one of the.
But they also said that the expectation is the dogs won't return.
Right.
The dogs.
The dogs be or will be. I couldn't hear you, Brandon.
So grass would be a problem with the dogs.
Testing, the dogs would not return to the turf.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thank
And
you.
They did talk about subsurface and not being necessarily very grass friendly by the water.
Thank you.
Francis, and then
That structure on top, is it gonna be removable, or is it just for the winter?
Yeah,
great question.
they say it's removable. They're gonna take it down every mid-March or so.
For the summer?
Yeah,
So they
the
could
summer
get more
concert
people
series,
up
so they
there.
can have it open again.
Yeah.
I asked them the question, like, well, if it works well, then why not leave it up all the time? If you're gonna do that and maybe contain the sound.
Probably can't get as many people, because when it's out.
They said it won't affect capacity.
With it out.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know how either.
Because it has louvered doors that can open, so they can always.
Hang on one second.
And then more, remember I asked them about the bathrooms?
Yeah, I remember back.
Mhm.
Didn't hear anything.
Yes, I just want to remind you that, or Jack or whomever, to stay on them to get back to us about the public bathrooms, please, under the highway and on their property. Thank you.
Yeah, the roof was where the skating rink was open this past winter, right?
Yeah,
I've been
a couple years ago, they had
myself.
that, Rockwell, David Rockwell, Winter Village.
Yeah.
There. I thought that was awesome.
They reported
Popular.
the skating rink is not as popular as they had hoped it would be.
Right.
Well, when I went,
When
when I went there, it was me, my son, and two other people.
That's what I'm saying.
Any other questions in the room?
Anybody else?
Online? Thanks, Patrick. You've got a busy month next month.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, moving along. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, if that enclosure ends up having to come back to us, it'll come back through LPC. Yeah, we'll see. Jess or Betty, who's ever leading?
I'll do it. Okay, so pretty light month by our standards, so I'll go quickly. I'll start with Chinatown Connections, and I'll do the resolution. So this is, was a presentation from the Department of Transportation on the traffic study related to the Park Road project. The results of this study are going to inform, what the plans look like for Park Row. There's a lot to it. We could share it with you, but in a nutshell, according to their study, reopening Park Road to private vehicles, they predict would not alleviate traffic in the surrounding area. They predict that it would actually induce more cars overall into the area. They said that traffic at Kinloch Square would be comparable to 34th Street and 8th Avenue. The committee had some concerns about the base of the study, that it was only considering peak times. So we requested some data about what it would look like, during the nighttime, potentially having it open at certain times and not others, not a full closure. So that was really it with respect to the study. And then, do we have any questions about that before we move on?
I'm just gonna tag in and add that we have yet to hear from City Hall directly, other than us asking the question that Park Road would remain closed, period, permanently. That's it. They told us it was a Chinatown connection update, but we've not gotten ever until we asked, and they told us that Mayor Adams made the decision to keep Park Road closed. That's the first time the public has heard that. We did ask for the justification for the study, as you said, so we understand if they showed us as a peak was a spike, or if it was a bell curve. Bell curves obviously make sense on closure, spikes and whatnot. But again, yeah, we would have wished that City Hall could have done the due diligence after 24 years of asking to come and actually explain it directly to the community. But it was well covered. Thank you, Justin.
No problem. Okay, so our resolution, this is on the 9/11 Memorial and Museum 5K run that's gonna take place in April. This is the 13th annual event, so we're very familiar with it. There have really been no complaints. We really have no issues with this. It starts around Brookfield Place, I think at 8:10 in the morning. They go up North End Avenue, and then they go up the runners are going to be on the bike path along Hudson River Park up to, I think, Lake Street, and then they're gonna come around south, and they're gonna go all the way down the Esplanade, loop around Valley Park City, up Granite Street, and into the Memorial Plaza, where there'll be a big public event that I'm sure we all know about. So we approved the street activity permits with just some light suggestions about notifying local businesses and mitigating some of the noise. But that's really it. So. Question? Or ask?
Curiosity, how many people show up, like last year, how many people showed up to that?
I don't remember what they said. I think we did ask this question.
I think it was-
Does anyone remember?
Yeah, I ran on that.
I think it was 5,000.
It's a great event, a lot of people.
I've seen the end of it.
They're not maxed out. They're at 5,000 for them. It's about half the size of the AHA one.
Yeah.
Any other questions online?
Question in the back.
Andrew?
Not so much a question, but a comment. This has come up in back about the ability to cross West Street to get to the field. In a time that it's been really, really challenging. And the date is a date when there'll be families and kids trying to get to fields for baseball and softball. So we try to make sure they're aware of that and figure out a way to mitigate that risk.
Okay, are you talking about like at Warren Street?
Yeah.
Getting from the east side.
Yeah.
over to the field.
Yeah, I don't think we spoke about that. So we talked about a lot at the Chambers Street intersection where they're gonna be going onto the bike path. But they're not actually gonna be at West Street, and Warren, right? Because they're coming out.
Also,
Yes. Can I say something and then someone corrects me? Is this Justine online? I don't think that this race is the one that's going to interfere with the ball fields. I think it's going to be either in the park, like on Rockefeller Park, or on West Side Highway. It's not going to be the Tunnel to Towers race.
Right, no, it doesn't pass the ball field.
Right. Andrew, I hear what you're saying, but it's the tunnels to tower race that you're thinking of, and also the AHA run. Both of those compromise the ball fields.
Yeah, this will be.
Right. So,
River Terrace.
Call the question.
Hold on.
Second. Fantastic. Vote by affirmation. So assuming everybody's a yes, are there any no's? Hearing and seeing no no's, either online or in the room, are there any abstentions? Hearing and seeing none, are there any recusals? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Okay, regulations on commercial e-bikes are doing next month, correct?
Yeah, we just had general discussions about pending legislation. If anyone wants to come and talk about that particular issue, come next month. That'll be a fun one.
Okay, so I need everybody to have really looked. This was a brutal month for licensing, okay? And I appreciate all the flexibility of the board. I will remind the board that other CDs have 2 licensing meetings a month to go through all this. We have spread the joy and spread the love. It starts in licensing, goes to quality of life, and if anything's left over, it goes to exec. So we're trying to not have the licensing committee meet twice and add another committee. But that also means that everybody needs to read this. So Francis is gonna decide which ones we can take together, if any.
And I'd like to start with Governor's Island because that's easy.
That one is
110 Andreas Road and 125.
Yep, this is under the SLA liquor licenses, which are for Governor's Island, 110
Licensing
Andrews
information,
Road,
right.
125 Carter Road. So taking those two
Two
together.
together.
Yeah.
Why was there an opposition on 125 Carter? Do you remember?
It wasn't me.
Well, somebody opposed.
Oh.
I'm just curious.
Guess who?
Well, I don't want to do that. I'm just curious what the objection was.
I don't remember. All right, so let's keep going. Taking those together, we'll do a vote.
Question.
Oh, thank you. I see, I was so excited, almost got ahead of myself. Thank you, Susan. Are there any, assuming everybody's a yes, are there any in opposition? Are there any recusals? Did I miss one? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes unanimously for those two. Thank you.
Okay,
Any others?
outdoor dining.
Francis, can I suggest something? I know you're not going to regulate this, but I find these things very difficult to put back and forth. Can we just go through one by one? Is it okay to do it that way? Because the last time it was impossible to.
I have a
figure out.
suggestion. Why don't we go one by one for discussion, right? And I'm gonna limit discussion to very quick, one by one, and then we'll take all of the vote together. Does that work?
I think we can separate out sidewalk and.
Yeah, well, again,
They're only four
Let's go.
broken.
That's fine.
All right, let's do,
The last time it took much longer.
On this list.
all right, we've got 214 front. We're just gonna go top down. Let's just get rolling, right?
Okay.
214 Front Street, Il Brigante application and sidewalk and road bed. Anybody have any comments, suggestions? Okay, hearing nothing, questions been called and seconded.
Second.
I can't get an agreement to do them all together from Alice and Mark.
You know what, if the committee has already.
Fine,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can take it all out. I can tell you which ones we.
By information, if there's any
I
vote,
object
and
to
anybody
doing
could
them
just
all
vote no.
together. They got really confused.
Not all of them, there's a couple that I'm gonna pull out, but most of them
Okay.
are basically straight up for what they
All
are.
right,
I went over
again,
every single one of them.
Again, this is 214, this is Il Brigante. We're just gonna, let's just roll. One at a time, let's just roll. Get it, right? Vote by affirmation. Was there a question called in second? Second. Are there any opposed? And Maruso opposes. Are there any abstentions?
Thompson opposes.
Nope. And Maruso and Thompson oppose. Are there any abstentions? Any recusals? Okay, 214, Il Brigante, done. Next one. 24 Harrison. Comments, questions?
Sidewalk cafe.
Going once.
For Eves,
Call
right?
question.
This is Terrar, Tribeca, 24 Harrison Street.
They did a lot of work like this. Yeah,
Yep,
but, you know, whatever.
okay.
And weekend.
Second.
Okay, it's been called and seconded. Is there any in opposition? Vote by affirmation. Pat, are you opposing?
No.
Okay, hearing no oppositions, are there any abstentions or recusals? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes unanimously at 24 Harrison. Moving along, sidewalk application, 2 hands, 251 Church.
No, you put out.
25 North Moore.
I apologize, I got so excited. 25 North Moore, Brandy Library. Any comments, questions, concerns? No, Tricia.
Second.
just mentioned at the meeting.
Which one?
It- Well, I mean, if you've been to this location,
Mm-hmm.
that you take 6 steps up into the restaurant. This is
Yep.
so far away. I don't even know how they're gonna wait these tables. And the sidewalk is also narrow. It's an awkward spot. I love Brandy Library. But I just am not seeing this.
Ready
So
to-
I
But
just.
didn't we ask them to correct us?
No, it is what it is there, and the distance and everything was approved. Was approved.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
and
Wait,
4
can I say-
tables with 16.
On this location, is that a tree or is that just like a sewer? Like, is
I
that
don't know, you have to go.
It's not a
Maybe if it's sewer, it's like a sewer.
It's a sewer.
I mean, we spent a lot of time measuring and going. And looking at 8x10 glosses and everything.
Okay.
Thank
Any other questions, concerns, or comments?
Call the question.
Second. Thank you. Vote by affirmation. Who's in opposition? Joyce?
Abstain.
Joyce abstains. Are there any other abstentions or recusals?
Thompson, opposes.
Joyce abstains. Thompson opposes. Anybody else? Vicky? Okay, no recusals, motion passes.
Okay.
Run along.
251 Church is one of the ones that Tammy mentioned earlier, that's going to, have a hearing
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Can you explain why?
No, it's part of the process. Okay, again, do we have any conversations about this? Anybody, Alice?
No, I just didn't understand what that means. This one's going, but others.
Because every sidewalk is required to have a public hearing and some road them,
Right.
part of the process. So their public hearing has been scheduled.
Okay, so the other ones haven't been scheduled yet. They will ultimately be scheduled. Is that okay?
It depends.
Okay.
But this particular one, because that we had issue with their bathrooms, they don't have an ADA bathroom. They said something about them being grandfathered in, so that was probably a red flag, and that's probably why, it has to go in.
Correct.
And the 5.5 feet from a bend where you
That,
can't walk on. that's-
whatever
that's a-
this says it is, and this is, DOT's measurements.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Has the question been called?
Call the question.
Second.
All right, so vote by affirmation. Are there any in opposition?
Thompson, opposes.
Thompson opposes. Any abstentions?
Blank abstained.
Meltzer abstains. And if anybody's wondering, I'm abstaining on the fact that it's okay to have an ADA compliant dining and non-ADA compliant bathrooms, which is why I'm abstaining, because I think it's ridiculous that there's no effort made for accessibility there. Okay.
Gia abstains.
Fucha abstains. Anybody else online abstains?
Hey, abstains.
Okay.
Cole abstains.
Oopsie. Cole? And
Yeah, I'm abstaining. I don't like it either.
Okay.
Also abstains.
Hey, Brown Kennedy? Is that what I heard?
Yep. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4,
That
5,
changes,
6, 7, 8, and Lewinson. Yep, I got her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Doesn't make sense.
Slow.
Can we make it a contingency?
No, unfortunately.
You can't.
All right, so motion passes. Thank you so much. 145 Dwayne for Takahashi. Anybody have any comments? Hearing and seeing no comments.
I call the question.
Yeah, sorry, I have a comment, which is.
Oh, sorry.
And I will talk out to you, no objection, but 4'2" will not fit what's there. That's 6 feet. And they show 4'2". So I never know how you then later on are able to question that.
This is DOT. They give us, we don't, it's bad enough we have to.
Well, DOT doesn't give you the site plan. The applicant gives
So-
the site plan to DOT.
Yeah,
and
but they approve it,
Yeah,
so
well, that's
we're not going out there measuring this.
Alice, the original site plan was the one on top.
Right.
Then they amended it to the one below.
And I'm saying that a table and 2 chairs can't fit into 4'2" inches. Am I wrong?
It depends on, depends on the size of the
Well,
table.
it depends if you want to sit down, I guess.
I mean-
Anyway, I mean, you know,
plans there.
anyway, whatever. I'm just saying, these are, that's.
Some of them agree to their
Okay,
tables.
yeah, whatever.
All right.
And this is DOT, they say that's the space they're gonna let them have.
God, we're gonna be.
All right.
Argue over
Okay, yeah, we got all that stuff the other night.
time working on this.
Okay.
Don't leave it go.
So,
So now they don't want to have it.
did anybody call the question?
I tried
I'll
to.
call the question.
Thank you. So vote by affirmation. Are there any opposed? This is your chance.
I just have a question.
Okay. Any hearing no? No.
Thompson opposes.
Thompson opposes. Are there any abstentions? Recusals, motion passes. Okay,
First of
next.
all, 146 Beekman.
Okay, this is, yeah. Sidewalk
That's the
cafe.
sidewalk
146.
cafe, they've already been approved for road bed, so this is,
Right.
they've been there for years.
Yep.
All
Any
question.
questions?
Second.
Fantastic. Vote by affirmation. Are there any in opposition? Hearing and seeing none, any abstentions? Hearing, seeing none, any recusals, motion passes. Great, closing, rolling.
350 Broadway, Think Coffee,
Yeah,
they have those 5 tables, and that's it.
yep.
Call the question.
Second.
Second.
Any in opposition? It's a vote by affirmation.
Thompson opposes.
Okay, this is,
Any recusals or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes with one opposed.
okay,
For
this one we all know. Bubby's.
120 Hudson.
120 Hudson, Bubby's.
I don't, just explain, there are currently no sidewalk cafe tables. If there were 4 benches in front of that restaurant. There was roadway cafe, but the restaurant had no sidewalk cafe. We're now adding Northmore, they already have the roadway approved, and now you're going to add, these are all new tables, is that correct?
Yeah, because they have to have it approved. Before that, it was a free-for-all.
Right, so,
Yeah.
but the amount of sidewalk cafe on the Hudson Street is enormous in front of did that get reviewed carefully? Everyone saw that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you look at the original plan versus the.
Well, I'm looking at what I pass every day, and I could say.
Yeah, but this is what is.
Monstrous in terms of the amount.
Right, and a lot of times when we pull it up, we see structures that are not there. And it's gonna be a whole nother thing. The structures are from last year. And if you look at the original Hudson Street plan and you look at the ones that was updated, you can see there's a lot more.
Hudson Street looks about the same as what they originally proposed,
Yeah,
actually.
I
It looks pretty much.
No, they took out a lot of seats.
They took out one table.
No, they took out a little bit more.
More. I'm talking about Hudson Street.
This is the Hudson Street plan.
Right, and if you look at the updated plan, they've
Like the
taken
updated
out.
plan. Oh, right here.
Oh, they took out this table.
Yeah, on one table. So I'm just saying that is, for anyone who lives there and knows Hudson Street, that is an enormous number of new, there's nothing there now, you're
Yeah,
adding
yeah.
that number. That's all.
And adding that there's always a line on
Huge line.
Saturdays and
So
Sundays.
that's to say that there's so many
Yeah.
people still
Okay, well,
Yeah.
to be honest, the applicant didn't satisfy,
But isn't that the one that we asked them to, there was a section over to you're looking at the plan over to the right where we said that people could congregate there?
You gotta, when you're looking at the resolution, the maps, the approved maps are not under the right images. So on page 2, where the updated site plan by committee is Hudson Street belongs on page 1. And the Northmore one belongs on page 2.
Yeah.
The images are just flipped. So if you're taking a look to try and find the symmetry where it is, page 1 to 2.
Anyway.
If you understand what I'm
They
saying.
did take out a lot of seats.
I don't see any more hands, so I'm gonna call the question.
Second.
No.
Yeah.
Right, which answers the question about the congregation around the door, because they took out that table just like right there. So they
There's
could.
nothing there now, so, and there's lines outside the restaurant.
Mhm.
It's-
We
you-
got
you-
switched,
it's not-
no,
Yeah,
they
it's
got
not
it.
even.
So we call the question in second.
Okay,
Second.
all right. It's been called to question. It's been seconded. We're gonna do a vote by affirmation. Are there any opposed? Okay, so we're gonna go slowly around the room so Brendan can get it. Blank opposes, Foreman opposes, you opposes.
This is the one with the fire escape.
Yeah, but they fixed the fire escape, so.
Yes.
Not under it.
But they also don't. Yeah. All right, are there any other oppositions in the room?
I'm gonna abstain.
Joyce abstains, Lewinson abstains, Brown Kennedy abstains, Meltzer's opposed. Just too freaking much.
Thompson opposed.
Sorry.
Kay opposes.
All opposes.
All opposes, thank you.
Chia opposes.
I'm gonna oppose it.
You guys say your name?
Hernandez. Okay. Foreman, okay, so, okay, so let me get this straight. For opposes, I have blank, Foreman, Joyce, Brown Kennedy. You're abstaining, Brown Kennedy, thank you.
Yes, so was I.
And Joyce is abstaining, okay. And Lewinson, are you abstaining or no? Abstaining. You was a no. Hernandez was a no. Meltzer was a no.
Abstain.
Froman's an abstention. Okay, got it.
He's a no.
Hay is a no. Kucha was a no.
Cole was a no.
Okay,
Still passes.
and motion passes by how much?
It's 26-12.
26-12, so that kind of gives you an idea. And if you are somebody who abstains or opposes for whatever reason, I hope you go to the public hearing. Moving on to the next one.
377 Greenwich.
This is that we're trying to do it.
Okay, so Alice has feedback and comments. You go first.
No, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we have already at this site 18 tables and 72 seats in the roadway. So, you know, when you,
In the roadway, there's 72 seats?
yeah, according to
Yeah,
that,
there's a
just looked it
bunch
up
of
for me. That was approved by this board, having reduced from a bigger number. This,
Is that what it was? That wasn't what it was before. It did not have 72 seats outside.
No, they expanded to 2 sides.
It's a corner
They
location.
have both sides.
They have the right to do both.
They have roadbed and.
so that was roadbed and now we're talking about sidewalk cafe. Just, I think it's important to think about how much stuff is
Oh,
out there.
no, totally, we do.
Yeah, I know.
Come in there, if they could have the whole street, they take it.
Right. So now we're adding 31 tables and 62 seats with this plan. So, yeah. it's-
And they did, and for everybody who's asking, at the meeting, we did discuss bathrooms because it's a hotel. They have enough between the hotel bathrooms and the restaurant bathrooms to legally accommodate. So,
Yes.
Are they letting people walk in the hotel entrance to use the restroom?
yes,
Really?
yeah, so, yeah.
Question.
That, I'll believe that.
Would you like that as an as a comment on here?
It's,
They stated it.
I can't even, like, that hotel is $1,000 a night for a room. They have limousines coming up, the doors go, like, and then.
It's more than
have
1,000.
people From the restaurant coming, they won't even let, anybody from the restaurant is not even able to walk back into that courtyard. And I think you
Okay.
have to go to the courtyard to get to the bathroom, so.
So applicant stated that hotel bathrooms will be available
The restaurant, they have
to outdoor dining patrons.
Bathrooms in the lobby,
Yeah,
just say hotel lobby.
Yeah. they have restaurant bathrooms and hotel lobbies, so
Yeah,
they
in
have,
lobbies.
Yep.
One for you.
yep. Hotels.
So they agreed to that.
Justine? Justine, your hands up?
I know, I heard you. I'm sorry. I forgot my question. Isn't that terrible? Thought so, ignore me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any other questions or comments? We have one friendly amendment that added that, okay.
All right.
Anybody else?
Call the question. Second.
Second.
Fantastic. This is a vote by affirmation. Are there any opposed?
Abstain again.
Joyce abstains.
Blank opposed.
Blank opposes.
And it's opposed.
All right, hold on. Joyce abstains. Hernandez abstains.
No, opposed.
Oh, okay.
Lerner
Blank
abstains. Lerner, no.
Lerner, no. Gotcha. Mark, you're an abstention.
Brown Kennedy abstained. Fred Lewinson.
Kennedy, Lewinson, Foreman. Any other abstentions?
Well, this Mark, Mark opposed.
Mark, Amoruso abstained. I have 3 opposed, 1, 2, 3,
Thompson
4,
opposes.
5.
I want to oppose also Kuchia.
Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far in opposition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 abstaining. Are there any other abstentions or opposition? Meltzer abstains. Okay, are there any recusals? All right, motion passes. Thank you so much.
Okay, 311 Church Street is applying for a roadway cafe. They got 8 tables with 16 chairs and they do not have a sidewalk cafe.
If I remember correctly, they would not be applying for sidewalk.
Well, there's no room for it.
Because there's no room.
Right, there is no room.
Love that. Anybody else have any questions?
Call the question.
Called and seconded. Fantastic. Everybody by affirmation. Are there any opposed? Amoruso?
Opposed.
Any other opposed? Okay, are there any abstentions? Hearing none, seeing none, any recusals, motion passes. Thank you so much.
So we got 250 Vesey Street, and this is the opposite. They are applying for a sidewalk cafe, and they said they will not apply for a roadway. And they have, how many seats? 4 tables and 8 chairs.
Call the question.
Second,
All right, vote by affirmation. Fantastic. Are there any opposition? Any recusals or abstentions? Hearing it none, unanimous. Let's go.
Okay,
Unanimous.
this is.
Okay,
One of my favorites.
228.
228 Front Street. This is Jeremy's Ale House, guys. No, everybody know Front Street and how narrow it is?
Yeah.
And this place, they already have a balcony that's kind of outside, but that's why they're not applying for a sidewalk cafe, because they have this little thing that's like a balcony. But they are applying for a roadway on Front Street, and anybody knows how narrow Front Street is.
Okay.
Anyway, so they want 4 tables,
Any other questions or comments?
16 chairs.
I remember my question, which is just a general question, if I could. So when we vote no, it's not like we're not giving them contingencies or anything like that. We're just saying, no, we don't want this, goodbye, right?
No, we had the discussion in the committee meeting, and we tried to work out something.
Right, and they wouldn't comply. Yes, I get that.
And this is what we present.
Half the time, they have complied to a lot of things, but some people
Right.
feel it hasn't gone far enough. But the question was called, the question was seconded. Okay, are there any in opposition?
Me.
Lerner,
Curtis, Lerner, did I just hear you say no?
correct.
Curtis is a no.
Chang is a no.
Chang is a no.
Russo's a no.
And Amoruso.
You should know that this was a tie in the committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Thompson is
Push the resolution yet.
Thompson, anybody else online? Okay, any abstentions?
Oh, sorry, I'm abstaining.
Blank,
It's a tie in the committee.
Corman, and Meltzer abstain. I abstain because I can't stand Front Street being.
Oh, with the.
All right, anybody else? Lerner?
I already voted no. You have no idea how crowded this bar is. You have no idea. They're,
Oh, when I asked for that, I was like, are you
Yeah.
kidding?
I think I abstained on that one too. Okay, moving along, top,
Okay.
81 more.
81 Warren. Okay, DOT denied their applicant sidewalk cafe,
They're denied.
but now they're having, they want to apply for a roadway with 5 tables and 20 chairs.
Why did you deny it?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't have that paperwork.
It didn't meet the requirements based on the infrastructure that was
Whatever they
there.
have to check.
And there
over,
wasn't
whatever
enough space
wasn't-
around.
I didn't check it right by the house, please.
Well, they have a
Sidewalk right now?
connection in various.
I bet it's a picture, but
I think they.
Then you should file a 311 complaint.
Just absolutely.
I mean, okay, 81 Warren Street. Are there any other questions, comments?
All the questions.
Second.
Okay, vote by affirmation. Are there any opposed? Curtis is opposed. Amoruso, are you opposing? Okay, is there anyone else in opposition?
Chia opposes.
Roman Kucha. Anybody else opposing this roadway?
Thompson opposes.
Thompson. Okay. Hearing blank, what are you doing?
Abstaining.
Blank abstains.
Lewinson abstained.
Lewinson abstains.
I think I'm going to too.
And Joyce. Okay, any others? Cody, I'm assuming that's just you talking. Okay, no recuse, motion passes. Thank you so much. Moving on, 134 West Broadway.
Yeah, they wanna,
This is
Sidewalk
Mac.
Cafe, Max is right next to Edwards.
Yep.
Right on West Broadway.
It's the sidewalk.
Yes, sidewalk.
Sidewalk,
Mhm.
okay. All right,
And then also
hearing no comments,
let's call the question.
you could see on the,
thank you.
they rearranged their seating.
Okay.
It's been called and seconded at one real fast. Awesome. Is there any opposed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
They
recusals?
already have tables. Are these more?
What?
Yes.
They have tables out there already. Did they ask for more?
No.
I'm trying to think if it's gonna visually change.
It'll be reduced.
Yeah, it has to, and then, you know, DOT comes around and checks whatever they have now,
This is what
it's
they
not
have now.
what it's supposed to be.
So abstentions.
All right, guys, let's not get lost. It got called, it got seconded. We did, opposition.
No, God, what are we doing?
Any abstentions or recusals? Hearing and seeing none.
Abstention.
Blank abstains. Amoruso?
No, he doesn't. Yeah,
Yes.
it's the sidewalk. He doesn't.
All right.
They modified everything.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Motion passes. Moving along. I'm trying to keep.
81 Hudson,
Chase, we're not there yet.
puppies.
We're not even out of licensing yet.
Yeah, we know.
All right, I'm rolling. Come on.
We're noticing.
Puppies.
It's like 8 tables and 16 chairs.
I wanted to take.
Okay, compliant, you know.
All right, puppies. Any questions, Mark?
Yes, we had to add some language to this. This came up in committee, because, as it stands now, there's often people standing, outside, not sitting, congregating on the sidewalk and drinking. The applicant promised that that would no longer happen, that everyone will be sitting once he gets his sidewalk cafe installed. So we had language to that effect, because it is a big problem on that corner. You have 24 people standing there with beer in their hands.
Wait, don't they?
They said they were gonna put barriers.
They're putting, yeah,
Well, whatever he agreed to do to fix that's going on now, we could just add language to, in the resolution to state that.
okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna help me with that, right?
Oh, well, okay,
Applicant has agreed
let me figure it out.
to monitor
And for,
and control
Waiting.
queuing and traffic.
I think it's been queuing
To
there.
have them, put them inside, to have a very, not queuing on the street.
Clear path is maintained.
Uh-huh.
with alcohol, that, and people would hold it.
Patrons, we don't care if they have a soda or they have a soda and vodka. They just can't be in the clear path. Just keep the clear path clear. Gotcha. Okay. Anything else for language? Anybody else?
Call the question. Second.
Fantastic. Vote by affirmation. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstention? No recusals? There we go. Motion passes.
Okay, so 34 White Street is sidewalk and the applicant will not apply for roadway. They've got 11 tables and 30 chairs. We had to ask them to move it around based on the picture. The updated site plan is on the bottom.
Okay, question. Okay, vote by affirmation. Are there any in opposition? Are there any abstentions? Recusals, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Last one.
No, that's something that,
Now, this is the procedural, okay, so this is procedural changes for DOT outdoor dining and FDNY waivers. So
because
this is-
as the committee is trying to do its work, we run across a lot of little obstacles. And like one with the
bathrooms is
the bathrooms is one. They're asking for all of these seats outside and they have
Sidewalk seating is now permanent, which is different from the original sidewalk seating, which was a temporary program for seasonal seating, but now since it's permanent 365 and DOT hasn't done its
due diligence to coordinate the size, because the size of the bathroom is based on what they have inside. Now they have more seats outside.
That's right.
So there's no relationship between them. So we're asking them, how many seats do you have now before, like one place? I'm exaggerating. They had like 20 seats inside and 100 seats outside.
You're not exaggerating.
And one bathroom. So it's like we have to, so that's one thing.
They're only allowed to have, they have to have one bathroom per 7 people.
But
So if they have over 7 foot, they cannot have the side, outside sidewalk. They
Well,
cannot have the seat.
Because DOT does not have any requirements in any of
Right.
the rulemaking about any of the DOB occupancy requirements
Right.
for bathrooms. For the same way that you can have an ADA non-compliant
Right.
bathroom,
Right.
but you're
Yeah.
required to have ADA compliant road bed.
Right.
So you can go there, you just can't use the bathroom while you're there.
Right.
Because DOT has not found a way to find symmetry within the two.
So this motion is asking for DOT.
Well, several things in terms of to look at the bathroom issue and also with the FDNY. In terms of us having some kind of consultation with us, because their FDNY is, oh yeah, you could do it.
It should go to FDNY before it comes to us, because if we do the due diligence to review it and FDNY rejects it, why should we have done the due diligence to review it to start with? It's, with 17 applications, maybe 3 of them get, denied by FDNY because the road's too narrow, then we shouldn't be seeing those.
Makes sense.
All right.
All the question.
I have 2 things I wanted to add, maybe amend if it's possible for these rule changes. One would be that the DOT should require that all applicants show all outdoor seating on the proposed, roadbed and sidewalk on each application. Even though they're applying for sidewalk, it should show that they're also going to apply for roadbed and how much they're applying for it. That should appear on the same applicant.
They're
Applicant, well,
separate.
that should be
separate
I understand that,
applications.
And I'm saying that they should establish a way that they're both showing
okay.
at the same time, because we never know if it's 100 seats, it's going to be on our public street sidewalks, or 10. So you see this all night, you see that, are they applying? So I would say it's a rule change that's probably would be helpful to communities throughout the city.
You know that you could apply for one now and one next year and not have it be the same, so you.
Yeah. I still think if somebody's attending it and they have the intention that they should show where they're planning on doing it, I mean, I think it should be a requirement.
Well, on our application, it is, because we ask, do you have any intention? Or if you do, you notify the community board before you put it in.
Well, that I guess.
So what Tammy is calling out is I have sidewalk this year. I see an opportunity for me next year when I have to reapply to have a sidewalk and road bed.
Right.
So that's just what she's making a statement on, is that like this year, they might not be applying for both. But next year
So when
they are.
Brendan comes before us, he's only coming for sidewalk.
No,
And
I'm
we
not saying
approve-
they should apply at the same time. That would be too good to be, too good to be true. That they would show that they are doing it and that they would indicate both on the.
What's the
plans.
difference between them showing it and us asking them?
I just don't think it gets done.
Well, if
We
they already-
don't see it. We don't ever
We
see
ask
them
them
both.
every time.
Okay, well, if it were a requirement, then it would be in the plan, that's what I'm saying. You would see the plan with both
But what I'm saying, what's the difference between seeing the plan and us asking us so we know how many seats they're gonna have?
Well,
Because you don't know where they are.
That's true, okay.
It does seem practical that if they already have one, and then they're coming for, let's say, sidewalk when they already have roadbed, that the subsequent applications show all of their existing seating, including the roadbed. That's not a difficult thing for them to do.
Yeah, so I would think that's it. For the-
Everything's difficult.
Okay.
Little things have been very difficult.
I understand that, but.
You know,
but-
okay, do you ever see one of their applications?
Yeah.
Yeah, so DOT require applicants to show intention whether they're gonna apply for both and provide the information. Subsequent applications should denote
Both.
prior approvals.
And the other thing I think should be added is that the DOT should provide standard dimensions for tables and chairs and the aisle. In other words, there's absolutely, there's 3 kinds of tables. There's a cafe table, there's a 2 table, and 4 table, and people should know the dimensions so that we're looking at these little square boxes that are showing us at, 6 inches. It's not possible. And every applicant should know what it is, the standard table dimensions, and so that the
But that's
public
what we
knows.
ask when we're.
We don't ask them just like the
But
DOT knows.
Alice, they are not required to have the same tables around.
Yeah, of course,
At
not.
all.
I'm saying they
You
show
want the
the applicants,
dimensions.
show.
Not gonna happen.
Okay,
We have to ask the question, and Francis can tell you, we ask the size of the tables. We ask them what they're putting there. The DOT doesn't care.
And some of that we have made, we said, that's a small space, you can't do that, make this table smaller.
Okay, so
it gets to go, that's why we're here at 10 o'clock at night.
We can request that they ask the applicant to show seating
Right.
dimensions.
That's
The reality is the program is specifically designed and priced, so they are not required to have a professional do this, which is very costly to get it.
All I'm trying to say is if you're an applicant and you get an application that you have on the DOT application, standard table sizes, and they don't have to use those tables, but they know what the standard table, so the public, when they look, knows if it's 2 feet, 1 foot, they're not making these things up, they're there on a sheet. It's
Yeah,
like a simple thing.
DOT's not gonna do table sizes, but we could ask the applicant to show.
All right,
table
whatever,
sizes.
okay.
Okay, another thing that we have in there is about the ADA bathrooms and that, that's a must that they have to
Yep, no, we'll
be
ask them
clear
to
about.
show seating dimensions.
All right, so those are the friendly amendments.
Yep,
Are
I've
you ready
got
to call the question?
I mean, has everybody had a chance
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
look at that? This is an
I
important
heard a
document
second.
from
So
the,
you're
from the
first.
Is that a second?
regarding a lot
I
of
heard a
things
second
that
down
we're
here.
looking to do.
Okay, Francis, it was called, it was yes, and it was seconded. Okay, we vote by affirmation. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Are there any recusals? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Lord,
Okay.
Lord Almighty.
Okay,
Got a lot.
now. Now for the, what's it, liquor licenses now?
You're one.
No.
Anybody?
All right, so 339 Greenwich.
339, yeah.
Are we really doing these one by one too?
Do we need to? Are they controversial?
Like,
No.
not sidewalk.
There's no pretend that they really want this.
I say we take them together.
Oh, I like that. I have heard somebody suggest
affirmation.
the entire
Well,
trifecta.
we can, because there's, I don't remember anything that.
anything.
All right, so we're gonna take Tribeca. Are we gonna take the financial district as well?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think we can, right, Francis? I don't think
Yeah.
there's any controversy.
Yeah,
That
we still
is-
have more, but
that
yes, we
is
can do this.
Everybody else for liquor licenses, all of Tribeca, all of financial districts. We've already done Governor's Island.
Can you say the
Yep,
addresses?
399 Greenwich, 329 Greenwich.
399 or 339?
339.
Thank you.
Okay. 329,
Mhm.
I'm sure that's gonna be happy when I die. 39 Avenue of the Americas, 2 Avenue of the Americas, 100 Pearl, 100 Pearl, and then 40 Wall. All of those are coming together. And I'll be eyeballing my people at the end of the table.
Call the question.
Thank you. Second. Perfect. Are there any opposed? It's a vote by affirmation. Hearing no in opposition, are there any abstentions? Hearing no abstentions, are there any recusals? All motions pass unanimously.
And can we do the fourth one, quality of life? Number 5, the quality of life, 1 White Street
All right, hold on a sec.
for roadway.
Oh, yeah, we can take that one.
That's 4.
1 White Street, which was Roadway Cafe. That was out of quality of life, so we're gonna pull that one out of committee. All the question. Okay,
You have three roadways in that committee.
oh, we have one, yeah,
3 roadway, 1 sidewalk, yeah, no, and then can we take them all together?
Yeah, I need to.
all right,
1 White Street,
Yeah.
roadway, the question was called.
and it was seconded, okay.
Did we talk about White Street?
No, we're doing it now.
Oh, okay. I thought someone just called the question.
Well, I think that's what she was saying.
You know what?
I think seconded.
Let's just not do this now because it's gonna be controversy. We'll do quality when we get to quality.
Okay.
Let's just streamline, go over it. Jason, Vicky, take us to landmarks and then we'll come back to the rest. We'll go in order. Sorry, it's reading.
Neither here.
Vicky, landmarks.
So we only had one resolution this month. It's a very short one, if you read it. It's Pier A, Battery Park City Authority came to, present. And they showed us, oh, I have slides, excuse me, they're here. Next, they did an extensive thorough review of the conditions and the existing windows and doors. And it was determined that substantial and continued deterioration of the original wood windows, hardware, and missing hardware due to the location. And during the meeting, it was confirmed that at some point when we started, there was an idea that some of them were going to be replaced now and some later, but during the meeting, it's absolutely confirmed that all of them will be replaced in kind, using Marvin aluminum clad, wood painted now. And we thought it was a terrific substitution and absolutely approved this unanimously.
Fantastic. Alice just said, call the question.
Second.
Many syllables came out.
I heard her. Did you hear? She whispered, I swear.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I thought this seems like a slam dunk. So
Thank you, it was, it
All right.
really, we spent, at least 40 minutes with them.
Okay, so it was called, it was seconded. Vote by affirmation. Do we have any in opposition? Hearing and seeing none here or online. Any abstentions or recusals? Hearing and seeing none. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Mr. Goldstein.
Okay, I just have 2 committee reports, so I'll go pretty quickly. And they're for 2 of our major cultural institutions. Here you're taking a pic, you're looking at some of the performers at the Perlman Performing Arts Center. On their first year and a half, they've had 1,600 artists performing there from all over the place. And they get a lot of their performers locally, including from BMCC. They also attract a lot of people into these spaces, which are open public spaces. Some of them are plazas, but you don't have to pay for them. You get performances, you get the Bloomberg Plaza and the Uber Plaza. So 5 days a week they're opened, and they're now in the middle of their second season. Here's a few of the more renowned acts that are coming or have been around already. And I do want to call some attention to July 12th, which is their family day, when they really would like to open it up and attract people from the community into their site. And there will be food and games and performances. So take a look for more publicity coming on that. Okay.
I just think that it's Oculus Restaurant Week or something like that. So you can also eat at the Marcus Samuelson restaurant this week for a deal.
Okay, now we're going to go to the Seaport, and we had Jonathan Bulware, who's the president and CEO. He has been there for a long time, 13 years. So he gave a report on everything that's going on, and they are doing a lot of work. They've gotten grants to renovate space, including this A.A. Thompson building. So that just opened last week or a week before then. And it's a big space where they could show a lot of their exhibitions. And again, they got federal funds to renovate that space. Of course, they spend much of their money on repairing and restoring old historic vessels. So boats like the Waver Tree and the Pioneer have been or are being restored. And they also get visiting vessels all the time. And there is a restoration of the Lightship Ambrose, as you see there, coming soon. It's being done now. And the final one I'll talk about is the lighthouse. The lighthouse is being worked on and should be finished in the summer of 2025. And that's famous space that you see when you enter the Seaport at Fulton and Pearl Streets. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Any?
There's another light.
Another one slide.
No, it's a different one. There we go. Just, and as we'll go through the rest of the slides. There we go.
That's the next committee.
Thank you very much, Paul.
I just have a few reports and I'll be very brief on them because it's 9:22 and we have a bunch of resolutions still left to go. We have monthly reports from the Battery Park City Authority. Nick Spordone gives them of everything that's going on in Battery Park City, and that was one of the things that we discussed. People who are interested, I urge you to go to the Battery Park City Authority website where all of these things are available to see. Similarly, we had our annual spring preview report from the parks operations people. A lot of interesting information in there, and that is also available on the Battery Park City Authority website. And these things may be available on our website as well, since the presentations are provided to us. We had a pretty lengthy discussion of our priorities for the coming year, committee's community priorities for the coming year. I won't go over all of them. It won't surprise anybody to hear that one of the priorities is dealing with the upcoming resiliency project and how that's going to affect the public space and the mitigation measures that the authority plans to engage in. They will be presenting details of those plans at our May committee meeting. So I urge anybody who cares about what the neighborhood is going to be like during the North Resiliency Project to attend that meeting. They've given us a little preview of things that they're working on. It does sound like they are taking this very seriously and they have some interesting ideas. And that's the extent of my report tonight.
Thank you both to Jeff and Paul for your brevity. I really appreciate it. Keep remembering, if you really want more detail, watch the video.
I'm gonna try to be quick on.
Closing up, I just want to remark that it's 9:24. We didn't start until 6:17 approximately. So this is pretty tight as tight goes. I appreciate everybody. I think we learned a lesson that we can probably bundle a little bit more of the sidewalk and road bed as we go ahead.
Okay, really fast. Every month, every other month, we give the first precinct an opportunity to come so that anyone who hasn't gotten to the council meeting can ask questions. Basically, there isn't anything major in terms of crime in our community. There was crime, but nothing was major. This Thursday is the council meeting, so if anyone is interested, please come 6 o'clock at the first precinct. The Borough-based jail is, the building is completely demolished. They're working on continuing to waterproof the wall that was between the north side of the building and Chung Park, the building of Chung Park, what's it, center? It's a center, yeah. So they're continuing to waterproof that wall. The next project, and they're pretty sure, this is Gramercy who did the demolition, they're pretty sure they are going to get the project. They're going to start doing borings to analyze the soil. It's going to take about 8 weeks. They're going to drill, I think, 75, 85, I don't remember. You can listen to the,
It's
to
like
the
as far as
recording.
like 150 feet or something like that.
Well, it's like 75 in 8 weeks. The main issue, and it's gonna affect you, is that when they get to, or whoever, I think it's you, or maybe it's Patrick, when they get to the design phase, they'll go to, I guess, Patrick's committee, right? Not yours. And we would really want to see that, Laura Dodge gets another contract to continue on the project.
So that's something that, you know, whoever is working on the borough-based jails, we may need to do another resolution that we should, and whether that comes out of environmental protection potentially, should be, we've already set it for large-scale projects citywide, but we need to be very specific to tailor to that one. And just because we have new deputy mayors who knows what they know or don't, I suggest that that's a topic for environmental to take.
We want her to continue on with the
Especially
project.
since the contract is pending.
Yeah, so her project is ending. She thinks she's gonna be able to be there through the boring phase of this ending of the contract. Okay, we had DDC come in. I was looking for you, Rosa, for the Nassau Street, but, basically, let's see. Vesey Street is now, everyone who's walked by, you may have thought there wasn't anything going on in Vesey Street, but there is, and they think the project will be complete by the end of 2025. Greenwich Street, which we've had a lot of complaints about, we've had about the flaggers, and they had closed the street, made the street very narrow by BMCC. We asked them to please open that up some more. We also talked about the fact that there's going to be an election. I forgot when it is, but there's going to be an election and people are going to be coming and going. But they think the completion of that project will, and also it interferes with Mellon Bank. And so they think the completion of that project will be August of 2026. Nassau Street, they have a new person to contact for, any problems. Let's see. The completion will probably be spring or summer of 2026. And for any other details, you can just look at it online. So, you're gonna take over, Francis, for the floor.
One White Street. Francis, we saved the best for last. We got you in the middle, we got you.
One White Street, Roadway Cafe.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
They went and go to the tables outside?
Nope.
Do they want to keep those and do the roadway?
Yep.
Yeah. And they're-
Everybody's.
They
know
want,
it's
they want.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they're just separate.
Public property, yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that's what we don't get us.
Okay, so you see
All the questions.
I have for 45 John Street, please. That's.
Wait, no, hold on. This is One White Street.
Okay.
All right, are there any in opposition?
Kuchia
Joyce is a no.
opposes.
Oh my
Kuchia
God, so-
opposes. Sorry.
Joyce,
Cameron.
Emma Russo, Cameron, you, who's me?
From.
Froman,
Thompson opposes.
Thompson, and this is
Amy.
for the roads. Yes,
You heard Kuchia, right? No.
I did hear Kucha as a no, yes. Are there any other no's?
Lerner, no.
Lerner, no. We're going through no's. Are there any other in opposition? Okay, abstentions. Brown Kennedy, Lewinson is abstaining. Any other, Curtis is abstaining. We need to do a quorum check because I think some people dropped off as well. Any other abstentions? Meltzer abstains. Okay. Hearing no more abstentions, no recusals. Got it. Motion passes.
And despite whatever you think about this corner, it's already been cleared by FDNY.
Yeah.
So
We got it cleared.
we think,
No,
oh,
not,
we don't know.
not really.
How do we know? Did we get an FDNY waiver on this one?
We must have.
It's stamped on the,
It was stamped that they got,
It was included in the red on, yeah.
that they got a waiver?
Yeah. They said that's the.
Okay, 125 Chambers Street, guys. That is
Sweet green.
Sweet Green Garden. They want a sidewalk cafe.
Oh,
on
poor little lambs.
On, the Chambers Street on that horrible corner where the Starbucks is and they only want a couple of
Very,
Any comments,
Traffic.
questions, or concerns? Question has been called.
Second.
It was sneezed and seconded. Perfect. Are there any in opposition?
Yes.
So that's Curtis, Roman,
Oh,
you, Cameron, Cole. Any other? I'm pretty sure Boston's gonna take.
I am, but also you can do a little fast now.
Okay.
Just-
Sorry, all right, hold on. I will go back through the oppositions.
Thank
I'm
you.
rolling oppositions. I've got Curtis, Froman, you, Cameron, Cole, Thompson, Kucha. Anybody else? Are there any abstentions?
Hold up, hold up, we missing one.
Cassell
You-
abstains.
Gotcha. Cassell just said she abstains. Any other?
Actually, wait a minute. I'm against it. I'm against it. I'm sorry. No.
Gotcha,
Okay.
Blank is abstaining.
right. Okay, and
Cameron, did you vote on that one?
she
Yes,
did, she
no.
opposed,
Okay.
and Meltzer abstained.
Yes, I did.
Um,
No, I
Did I
apologize.
vote?
Yes.
Marissa made a-
Nope, you didn't say a word because it's sidewalk.
Okay,
Okay,
and
that,
Nelson did what,
I
abstain?
abstain.
Okay.
Okay, so that puts us, we have two left. folks.
Yeah.
All right, so do you think that these two could be taken?
No.
Okay, 275 Pile Gumbo Bar at 275 Church.
This is a roadway. It's the first time that they're asking, and their structure is going to be very interesting because it's
It's a shipping tank.
That shipping container.
shipping container,
Which have been approved.
which was totally approved. Now, considering all that other stuff where they say, don't do this, and you can't have that, and you can't have, he came in, he had 8x10 glossies and said,
And it's
they
only
said, okay, and it's only, like five feet.
They don't have a software.
outside. They can't, there's no way
But
they.
they said
can
it's
have
approved.
So why do you want to sit in a container, quote unquote, outside?
People are building
Containers there.
Okay, we are not debating whether or not you want to sit in the shipping container.
up to you.
Or not.
They might think you're gonna take you on a cruise.
It's a structure.
We are still, okay, the question is called.
Second.
The question was second. Are there, this is a vote by affirmation. Who is opposed? Anybody in opposition?
Zelter opposed.
Zelter opposes. Emma Russo opposes. I see your hand. You opposes. I see your hand. Are there any other-
opposes.
Lerner opposes. Meltzer opposes, because it's not, I don't care, shipping container is not, if that fire truck needs the space, you're not moving that thing, you have to wait for the pallet.
It's in a very, it's a section,
Chia opposes.
Thompson, Kucha. Okay, are there any abstentions? Curtis abstains, Blank abstains, Brown Kennedy abstains. Hearing no, Lewinson. Leonard, did you say something? Was that Betty?
Yes, Kay
abstained. I'm opposing that. That's a narrow street.
Kay abstains,
Yeah.
Hernandez, is now an opposition. I see that. Is there anybody else online? Cole abstained. One, two, three, four, five.
Did Kay abstain? Is that what she said?
Yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, because.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, with that, this is the final one.
With
45 John Street, where's Patrick? Patrick, 45 John Street. They want a roadway cafe.
Really?
John.
On John Street, like by
You can't
Dutch.
even have one car go down.
But there's a whole bunch of
Hold on.
construction.
Francis, do you mind if I do a quorum check really quick? Just make sure, because we're gonna.
26 to 11.
I got.
Where?
So on the last one, I'm just gonna go through with Brandon again, because the vote's a little wonky. So for opposition, I have Zelter, Amoruso, you,
This is oppositions.
yep,
Uh-huh.
Lerner,
Again,
Meltzer, Kucha, Hernandez.
For 45 John.
No.
We're
We're going back one, we're just to, this is
Yes, I got
to
Hernandez.
Church.
and Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for no's on the gumbo container.
No, I'm missing somebody.
Zelter, Amoruso, you, Lerner, Meltzer, Thompson, Kucha, Hernandez.
Do we have?
Or abstain.
I got you.
We
All
have
right.
four?
Yeah, hold on.
Or at least not, the number's not down as 8.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I got 8. And then for abstentions, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm missing in abstentions. Sorry.
Abstentions, I have Curtis.
Mhm.
Tell me when you're ready.
That's one.
I'll even go in alpha order.
Hmm?
I'll go in alpha order. We have,
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, not down here. I'm saying that's what the accumulated number is.
But there's no,
You're looking at the wrong column. We're in this column, yes.
no, but I'm saying you're typing inside
No.
it.
No.
Oh, okay.
okay. So abstentions, I have blank,
Uh-huh,
Brown Kennedy,
uh-huh,
Cole,
uh-huh.
Curtis,
I don't,
Lewis,
I don't.
Kay, and then Lewinson. See, I know my alphabet.
And it's,
Okay.
so
1, 2, 3.
I'm still missing one opposed, but right now we're at 24 approved. It would be 20 approved if I could find.
Okay. All right, we're at 34 in attendance. All right. Now, Francis, thank you so much. Please take us home.
Okay, so we got 45 John Street. They're asking for a roadway cafe with 6 tables and 12 chairs. Everybody knows that piece of street, John, is right across from the church, and they're doing a tremendous amount of construction
Yeah.
on that block. Not only right across the street from where this is, then down the street by Williams.
No,
It's-
it's 100 John and 100, yeah.
Right, there's 3, they're doing
Millennium
that one, and
Tower.
then the corner, there's a lot of construction on John Street, so anyway.
At the school. Bus, traffic every day.
I think she's.
It-
Handicap school.
It's very, very congested, and they're asking for,
Well,
but they,
presumably
in
that
the,
construction
It's
will
the
be
yes,
gone. I
right
mean,
there.
right now, there's a lane closed there for construction,
Yeah.
right?
a very narrow lane.
14.
Yeah, or at least.
The street's narrow, the street's narrow, and
It's really narrow to begin with. Oh,
Well, if you did it there,
That's why
obviously you
it's-
couldn't do a roadway there. There wouldn't be enough room for a car.
it's still, it's no, but
Until they clear up that
we
construction lane.
have a whereas.
that
That
street
addresses
and that roadway is always narrow, no matter construction or not.
Yeah, that part of John Street, and then you have the Dutch Street is right there. And that big apartment building and all those tents.
Let's, are there any other questions? Let's make sure we've got everybody who needs a question asked. answered.
Any comments or questions?
Okay, so
So otherwise, we can call the question and then we can do a roll call.
Yeah.
Second. Sorry, Francis. All right, Amoruso.
No.
Blank,
Blank abstains.
Brown Kennedy, Cameron,
Cameron, no.
Cassell, Chang,
And no.
Chapman,
Chapman, no.
Charkoudian, Cole,
Oh, no.
Coleman,
Oh, yes.
Foreman,
yes.
Kuchia,
You know, but go back to Cassell because she just came back on and
Thank
she's
you.
coughing.
I apologize for the coughing.
Cassell,
No.
Thank you. Oh goodness, thanks for coming.
Curtis.
No.
Curtis is a no. Flores. Friedman. He's not here, right?
Right.
Evans to Betsy. Froman. Galloway.
Galloway, yes.
Goldstein.
Goldstein, no.
Hernandez.
No.
Earshot. Yes. Joyce. Okay.
Yes.
Canal.
Absent.
Cockle. Capel. Lerner.
Lerner, no.
Lewison.
No.
Anybody else want to call?
Hey, Lyon.
Lion is.
Meltzer.
Abstain.
Mansley.
Lindsley, yes, I think there's been some.
Moore.
Moore, yes.
Pushkari.
Horshikori, yes.
Robinson.
Robinson, yes.
Starr.
Ron.
Jimmy Sung.
Yes. Yes.
Thompson, no.
Oh, Laura's here. Hold on.
All right, Townley.
Laura,
No.
please put camera on them both.
You.
What?
Zelter.
Zelter, abstain.
It's not passed. Oh, Laura Starr.
Laura. Aren't those caramel and apples good?
Laura.
All right,
Well, she doesn't get counted.
9:43. I have a motion to adjourn.
A motion.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
My May days are over. Please clean up after yourselves and throw your stuff away. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.